A wonderful afternoon for everyone, and welcome to
The
the
third
ASEAN
ASEAN
Foundation
Foundation
Interactive
Interactive
Alumni
Alumni
Townhall.
Townhall.
It's our pleasure to have you all at the ASEAN Hall today. But before we start the event, allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Alvin,
And I'm Felicia,
and
we
we
are
are
from
from
the
the
ASEAN
ASEAN
Foundation.
Foundation. Under the theme of connecting youth, the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall aims at providing a platform for our alumni to advance their professional development. In addition, we hope to build a great ASEAN awareness through engaging discussion sessions led by our Board of Trustees.
Furthermore, we also want to use this opportunity to share a bit about what ASEAN Foundation has been doing so far in relation to its mandate in building stronger people-to-people connection. And what a better way to do it than hearing it directly from our successful alumni who will share their inspiring stories today.
And before we officially start the event, we would like to explain a bit about the housekeeping rules for today. For those who are with us here in this room, we would like to kindly remind you to put your phone in silence and kindly remain calm in the room. In addition, please be reminded to always wear your mask throughout the event.
And for our guests who are attending via Zoom, we humbly request everyone to change their screen names to the appropriate names if it is not yet set. For example, your name, your account has underscore your country. For example, Felicia underscores Indonesia.
Also, during the speeches and discussions, we kindly ask that you keep your microphones on mute unless asked otherwise.
And during the question and answer sessions, the moderators for the sessions will bring forward questions from the participants to be answered by our speakers. Should you experience any technical issues, please use the chat box to notify the organizing committee who will cater to your concern as soon as possible. And we would like to remind everyone to fill in the survey by scanning the QR code as shown on the screen for the evaluation survey. And we also would like to thank our partners, Huawei, SAP, and Maybank Foundation for supporting this event.
And to officially start the event, we would like to invite everyone to sing the ASEAN anthem, the ASEAN Way. Please rise.
Thank you, everyone, and please be seated. Now, it is our pleasure to invite the Executive Director of the ASEAN Foundation, Her Excellency Dr. Yang Mi-eng, to deliver the welcoming remarks. Please join us in giving her a round of applause.
Thank you, Elvin, and thank you, Melissa. Your Excellency, Ambassador Dari Aman, Permanent Representative of the Republic Indonesia to ASEAN. Your Excellency, Ambassador Myomint, from Representative of Republic of Myanmar to ASEAN. Yeah? So these are actually my board of trustee. So we also have Your Excellency, DSG Satwinder Singh, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN for ASEAN Economic Community. Thank you for coming. And Your Excellency, we have also got our partners here today. I'm very happy to see that you are able to make it on site. So we have Mr. Eugene Ho, Global CSR Director, Future Skill Initiatives SAP. And of course, we also have got Hong Wei, Miss Hong Wei from SAP also is here. And we have got Miss Maria Relic, Google Org, Lead Google Asia Pacific, and Mr. Jun Chang. We have Mr. Jun Chang, Vice President, Director of Public Affairs and Communication, Huawei Asia Pacific. Mr. James Song, Vice President, Director of the Board, Huawei Indonesia. Mr. Jason Chang, CEO of Huawei Cloud Indonesia. Excellencies, colleagues from permanent missions to ASEAN, our beloved alumni, thank you for making it today, and also distinguished guests. A very good afternoon, and I'm actually feeling very relaxed because these are all my very great friends and great partners. Of course, ACCF, Mr. Huang is also here, our lovely partners, and GIZ. So Shamir is also here. So this is actually our third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall. Previously, we have 2 virtual town halls in 2020 and 2021. And I'm very happy to finally have a chance to meet all of you here, hybrid session today, on site and also virtually. So we have, I think, more than 500 over youth alumni registered with us on site. In fact, we have more requests to participate, but unfortunately, sometimes because of the technology, we have limited spaces. So since our inception in 1997, the ASEAN Foundation has led the privilege to implement many programs to promote people-to-people connection and build greater, stronger ASEAN awareness and identity. So this is especially true in the last 6 years, as we have been able to implement some of the most impactful regional initiatives that highlight various issues from data analytics, digital literacy, cybersecurity, climate change, youth employment to social volunteerism with support from key partners such as SAP, Google, Huawei, Maybank Foundation, ASEAN Secretariat, ASEAN China Cooperation Fund, and ASEAN Korean Cooperation Fund and GIZ. So all our partners is with us today. So for the youth at the back, please mingle later. After this, we have some networking session because these are maybe your future bosses. You never know. So that's why we are preparing the networking session for you to actually gain more, be closer to the corporate partners that we have. So the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall will continue the path of sharing insights about future skills, industry trends, in-demand jobs, and more importantly, ASEAN awareness and identity through engaging discussion sessions led by our partners and very own members of Board of Trustees. So we will also have an inspiring session with our successful alumni where they will share their current work and also experience during their participation in our programs. So you will see how they succeed over the time. Nothing comes easy for all the participants here and also for virtual participants, youth here. Nothing is like we can gain immediately straight. We have to work hard. And we have to plant our seed from earlier. So another important highlights from today, Alumni Town Hall, is the MOU signing between ASEAN Foundation and our partner. So the first MOU signing is between ASEAN Foundation and Huawei with the support of ASEAN Secretariat on a new program called ASEAN Market Access Program. So this aims to support social enterprises in ASEAN through digital innovation. So the second MOU signing is between ASEAN Foundation and Huawei on cloud system, which would further strengthen ASEAN Foundation digitalization's effort in years to come. So it is our belief that these new partnerships will bring the foundation to greater heights. And I would like to use this opportunity to convey our deepest gratitude to our Board of Trustees and who have guided us in our journey to empower young people in the region. Without your support, we will not be able to make it that far. So I would also like to convey our special appreciation to our partners and sponsors again, SAP, Huawei, Maybank Foundation for making the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Townhall possible. So a huge thank you to our speakers who have taken the time out of your busy schedule to support our event today. So finally, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the ASEAN Foundation's team, my team, for your hard work. I know they have worked very hard to make this event fun and insightful for everyone. So thank you, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of the afternoon with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yang, for your remarks.
And up next, we have His Excellency Ambassador Ang Myo Min, the permanent representative of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar to ASEAN, and the member of ASEAN Foundation's Board of Trustees to deliver his welcoming remarks. Please give His Excellency Ambassador Myo Min a round of applause.
Very good afternoon. A warm welcome to the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall. It is an honor to speak at this important event where the ASEAN Foundation and its alumni from the region present their work and share their experiences, success with other alumni. Excellencies, Yan, and our partner from Huawei and SAP and Maybank, and distinguished alumni and participants. The town is also an opportunity for the alumni to strengthen relevant professional network across the region. We have witnessed almost 500 alumni of ASEAN Foundations program for 10 ASEAN countries are joining online as well as on site at this ASEAN Hall. From this significant participation of the alumni, we like to encourage all to fulfill the objective of strengthening the relationship between the ASEAN Foundation and the alumni, and providing the alumni with the learning platform that can help enhance their professional skills and cultivate ASEAN awareness and identity, which has been primary objective of the ASEAN Foundation. In this regard, there is a need for us to continue to put our best effort in implementing programs and projects that promotes people-to-people linkages in the region. Excellency, distinguished participants, ASEAN Foundation places a great importance on youth, the future of leaders of our nations. Effort of the ASEAN Foundation to raise ASEAN awareness among youth have taken different forms and approaches. Among these are the proportion of ASEAN studies and university, scholarship grants, exchange program, and other university activities throughout the region. Excellencies and colleagues, for the past 25 years, the ASEAN Foundation has implemented various initiatives to support the ASEAN youth. We have seen that the ASEAN Foundation has been running multiple youth programs which promote student mobility in ASEAN and equip the youth with different skills which set to prepare them for their future development. We are confident that today's Alumni Town Hall will provide us how to upgrade the previous Alumni Town Hall session, which topics on career pathway to further develop the alumni professional and leadership skills in technology and civic engagement. The interactive discussion session will be followed very soon. In conclusion, I'd like to express my congratulations to Yan as well as our partners for their support and tireless effort throughout the several activities with the support of our partner Huawei, SAP, and Maybank. With that note, I conclude my opening remarks. Thank you very much all.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, for your remarks. Next, we are pleased to invite His Excellency Ambassador Dery Aman, the permanent representative of Indonesian Mission to ASEAN and a member of the ASEAN Foundation's Board of Trustees, to deliver his opening remarks. His Excellency, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. A very good afternoon, Madam Executive Director Yang, Excellencies, especially our ASEAN Foundation alumni. I wish to extend my appreciation to the ASEAN Foundation for organizing today's event. It is a pleasure for me to be invited and to attend today's Alumni Townhall and deliver this opening remark. It is, however, very unfortunate that I am unable to be with you in person today. However, in light of the importance of this event, allow me to attend and participate via video conference. Excellencies and dear ASEAN Foundation alumni, Indonesia's ASEAN chairmanship theme in 2023 is ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. This theme is basically Indonesia's answer to the lingering question, does ASEAN really matters? Yes, we see that ASEAN does matter, not only internally to its people and the ASEAN community, but also externally to the Indo-Pacific region and the world. Indonesia is cognizant that its chairmanship will start amidst multidimensional challenges such as geopolitical rivalry and global economic challenges. In endeavoring to advance ASEAN as an epicentrum of growth, Indonesia's chairmanship of ASEAN aims to advance ASEAN to continue to be the engine for regional stability and maintain its centrality. ASEAN shall deal with cross-border crimes and challenges, strengthen health, energy, food, and financial security. It should focus on the interests of its people without leaving anyone behind, including migrant workers. We continue to bring ASEAN much closer to the interests of the people, to the ASEAN community. And we would like to strengthen the protection and promotion of human rights. In this light, let us be reminded that peace and stability in the region cannot be taken for granted. They must be fostered and preserved, and thus require our conscious efforts to realize. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays an increasing number of major players or countries are interested in the ASEAN and the Indo-Pacific region. Therefore, I wish to reiterate that the interaction of countries in the ASEAN and the Indo-Pacific region shall remain and always be guided by the ASEAN Charter, the UN Charter, the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, the EAS Bali Principles, and the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific. Therefore, Indonesia's chairmanship will also prioritize the mainstreaming and implementation of the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific. And now, the question that needs to be asked to all of us, especially to the ASEAN Foundation alumni, relates to how youth in ASEAN can contribute to maintaining and strengthening ASEAN's relevance. That question can be answered by knowing how we connect ourselves as part of the ASEAN community. Excellencies and dear ASEAN Foundation alumni, it is worth noting that many initiatives of ASEAN are focused on empowering and enhancing the role of the youth in ASEAN community building. Why is that? Well, 34% of ASEAN's 654 million population consists of young people. The numbers are projected to peak at over 220 million by 2038. This makes youth in ASEAN as the powerhouse and primary stakeholders in maintaining ASEAN's relevance. They are the current and future leaders, the workforce, and catalysts for regional socio-economic and environmental development. ASEAN leaders have even proclaimed the year 2022 as the year of ASEAN youth. This signifies a high-level commitment to intensify interactions among the youth of ASEAN through exchange, scholarship, internship, and fellowship programs. Intensifying interactions bring about better understanding and awareness on ASEAN values and identity, which serve as the building blocks for a strong and cohesive ASEAN that can endure regional and global challenges, and making ASEAN once again relevant internally and externally. Ladies and gentlemen, in fostering ASEAN as an epicentrum of growth, youth plays a crucial role. In 2022, startups in Southeast Asia initiated by ASEAN youth have generated up to $8.2 billion. Digital transformation, which are mostly brought about by the millennials and Gen Z, have been contributing significantly to ASEAN's economic advancement. Again, this is why ASEAN places great attention towards youth development and empowerment. And the ASEAN Foundation have been playing a contributing role in this endeavor. In ASEAN, scholarships have been awarded to youth in ASEAN member states. Programs have been created to raise awareness and understanding on the common challenges faced by the region. Platforms were also created for youth to voice their concerns, such as the interface with our ASEAN leaders. Excellencies, dear fellow ASEAN Foundation alumni, as one member of the Board of Trustees, I will continue to support ASEAN Foundation programs which will raise awareness and empower the youth. As my closing statement, I wish to quote the words of Indonesia's first president, Sukarno. Give me 1,000 elders. I will undoubtedly rip Mount Semeru from its root. Give me 10 youth. I will undoubtedly shake the world. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency, for the excellent opening remarks.
And now we are proceeding to the next session, which is the first sharing session with our Board of Trustees. The session will discuss an interesting topic about the challenges and solutions in preserving ASEAN awareness and identity in a globalized world.
Hence, without further ado, we kindly invite our Executive Director, Dr. Yang Mi-eng, to come to the stage to lead this session. Dr. Yang, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying with us. And this is the exciting first session of today. We have 3 sessions today, so I will moderate through and followed by my colleagues. So for the first session of discussion today is on challenges and solutions in preserving ASEAN awareness and identity in globalized world. So before I proceed, I would like to introduce and invite our speakers, our panel speakers, to come to the stage to join me. So first I would like to, of course, Ambassador Derry is online, so I can't invite him to be here, but he is there on standby. So now I would like to invite Mr. Intep Sayavong, Second Secretary, Permanent Mission of Lao People Democratic Republic to ASEAN. And of course, we have our third lady, Miss Melissa N. Telan, Third Secretary, Permanent Mission of Republic of Philippines to ASEAN. Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. All right, I think just now Ambassador Derry, are you ready? Ready, yeah? So actually, Ambassador Derry has set, the discussion background for us. So we can actually continue from what Ambassador Derry has mentioned. So this year is actually, next year is chairmanships of Indonesia, if some of the youth is unaware. So of course, the themes of this next year chairmanship is ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. So perhaps some of you may want to know more in depth on whether this epicentrum things, what is the meaning of it. Just now has been discussed a bit about how important the youth are playing their roles. So Ambassador Derry, what does this theme means in practice? In practically, what does it mean? Because it might be a big theme and something that people wanted to deep dive inside. What is the element inside this theme? So can you perhaps share the elements? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Director, my fellow panelists, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, I would say that it needs to be understood that the theme needs to be further elaborated. That is true. And up to now, it is still fluid within the elements of the government of the Republic of Indonesia in trying to putting it in more elements, more beef, more meat into this theme that we have already stated. However, in this particular junction, I would like to share our preliminary views and information on the meaning of the theme of Indonesia's chairmanship 2023, which is ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. So probably if we try to simplify it, ASEAN Matters would relate to or would reflect to the first pillar of the ASEAN community, which is the political security community, where ASEAN matters, where ASEAN is relevant. We need to ensure that ASEAN centrality is being implemented, is being put forward in the midst of the global geopolitical and geoeconomic shifts. And the epicentrum of growth, of course, it would represent the second and third pillar of the ASEAN community, the ASEAN economic pillar, and the ASEAN socio-cultural pillar. So by trying to work and focus on these two pillars, we are hoping that ASEAN will remain as the epicentrum of growth to the global world, to the global growth, where we should take note and we should be proud of ourselves that ASEAN has relatively managed to stay above average in terms of the global economic growth, where people are seeing some recession, some declining of growth, but ASEAN has successfully managed to be above the average global growth rate. So with this theme, we are trying to address all the issues which matters to the people and to the ASEAN community in each of the three community pillars. So in terms of political security, in terms of economic pillar, and in terms of the socio-cultural pillar, if we connect it or relate it with the role and of our youth, I would say that it is very relevant and very quite direct that youth should and can contribute towards this Indonesian chairmanship wherever they are, in which pillar they are contributing. It's quite relevant for them to be active and proactive in trying to be in the implementation of this theme of the Indonesian chairmanship.
Okay, thank you,
So,
Ambassador Derry. Just a
yeah.
quick focus in. I mean, there are many pressing issues and challenges in ASEAN region. So for you, in this theme that you mentioned, that the three sectoral will be looked after, definitely, political security, AEC, and social side. But what is the most pressing regional issues that will be brought to the forefront for this during the chairmanship of Indonesia?
Well, we would have to see the backdrop that we are experiencing right now, the global economic crisis, the financial situation, the food and energy crisis, and all other crises and developments that we are seeing globally, which of course have an effect towards our region. So those are the pressing issues that ASEAN, together or through Indonesia's chairmanship, we will try to address. And again, the ASEAN community, its elements, including youth, including the ASEAN Foundation alumni, they all have the opportunity and a place to contribute in working together with all the ASEAN mechanisms that we have in trying to address this backdrop that we are seeing, and is to secure ASEAN centrality, ASEAN's growth, and of course, our interest in the Indo-Pacific region, where we already have the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific, which means that ASEAN should be at the forefront. ASEAN should implement its centrality, where other strategies in the Indo-Pacific should complement what we already have in ASEAN.
Thank you, Ambassador, for the very insightful details. We have a clearer picture now on the next year plan. So I would like to actually direct my next questions to Melissa, perhaps. Melissa, following what Ambassador Derry has mentioned, we have a lot of challenges. So the world is currently experiencing multitude of challenges, which include food and energy crisis, trade wars, ongoing pandemics recovery, and shifting geopolitics due to some Russian invasions to Ukraine. And how we, ASEAN, as a regional bloc, work together in responding to these various issues. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Edie Yang. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here. In answer to your question on how ASEAN will respond to these challenges, I think it's important to lay the foundation within which ASEAN acts, thinks, and works. The foundation is, in my view, could be found in the ASEAN Charter, in particular, Articles 1 and 2. So if you take a look at Article 2 of the ASEAN Charter, it says there that ASEAN member states and ASEAN itself will adhere to the principles of ASEAN enunciated in Article 1, which includes maintaining peace and stability, etc., by adhering to the fundamental principles found in ASEAN declarations, statements, treaties, and other instruments issued by ASEAN. With this foundation in line, then it is important to take a look at the recent declarations, in particular declarations by our leaders issued at the recent 40th and 41st Summit, and most recently the ASEAN-EU Commemorative Summit Joint Leaders Statement. So with that said, I've outlined some important statements that perhaps our audience here and at the online could take a look at. So these could be found at the website, ASEAN's website. Some of this would be, one important statement is the ASEAN Leaders' Vision Statement on addressing ACT, or addressing challenges together. It was issued by the ASEAN leaders at the 40th Summit in Phnom Penh last month. And you could take a look, the leaders here reaffirm the importance of sustainability in ASEAN's endeavors, as well as ASEAN's commitment to ensure ASEAN's recovery and resilience by, among others, accelerating inclusive digital transformation. You could see here that these three are underscored by our leaders as ASEAN's priorities. So we could also take a look at relevant ASEAN leader statement, such as the leader statement issued in the 38th Summit held online in October 2021 on advancing digital transformation in ASEAN, which underscores the importance of advancing digital transformation for ASEAN as a priority. And also, we could take a look at several ASEAN-led mechanisms, such as the ACRF, or the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework, which serves as ASEAN's consolidated exit strategy from the COVID-19 crisis. Other sources would be on exactly how to do it, would be plans of actions of ASEAN with ASEAN's external partners, such as the ASEAN-China Plan of Action 2021 to 2025, as well as work plans by sectoral bodies.
Thank you so much Melissa is actually a legal person, so she's very good in leading you to the right articles, to certain legal framework that we can work around. So for the third questions, actually, I would like to direct it to Mr. Intep. Mr. Intep, 2022 was declared as the year of ASEAN Youth. So with regional efforts focused on the fostering of youth 21st century skills and digital skills, as well as the institutionalizations of youth engagement mechanism. So what achievements have been made in terms of youth development, and how does ASEAN plan to continue involving youth as active contributors to the region's prosperity? Because the youth always questions, I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of plans, how can I bring forward my plans and get attention from the leaders, so that it can be implemented for their benefits? Yeah. So would you like to take the podium and do some presentation? I know you have something to share. Yeah.
Just to stay in order.
Yeah, okay, please.
Really good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all the Excellency Ambassador and His Excellency ASEAN Foundation alumni in here and in the online. For the topic and the question is quite broad, but I will summarize for my perspective, for my opinions. The first thing we could think about in the topic is challenges and solution in preserving ASEAN awareness and identity in the globalized world. It is a very, very important issue is the facing ASEAN. We firmly believe that the path of the greater prosperity for the region's greater integration within the regional and with the rest of the world. However, we those deeply for about the intra and extra regional integration present both of the opportunity and challenges to promote more inclusive growth in the world. In this regard, I will elaborate for 2 points below. First, we should understand for the globalization first. Why is this important for the ASEAN? Globalization is a process of interaction of the integration among the people, company, and the government, and others, private sectors. We can observe this process in form of close-border trade, foreign direct investment, close-border mobility of the people, and free exchange and thoughts and ideas. It means we can share, we can learn by ourselves in the ASEAN or in the external partner or something. We can share for each other. It is the main important for this event, and we try to promote the identity of the ASEAN through by the use of the ASEAN. Over the past 5 years, free flow of trade, investment, and people have been disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic and political tension. The pandemic growing geographic tension in the week of the suggest like a dispute of the trade or situation in the Russia or Ukraine. It is a list of the global value chains disruption and force multinational corporation to strengthen resilience to their supply chains and operation. I mean, it is when we force the issue, the same thing in the world and in the region, such as like in the ASEAN. So the use is very important for them. When we try to explain for them to understand what they are to be a stand in the ASEAN, so then the use is the next generation to be health in the ASEAN and the world to be continue in the peaceful manners. ASEAN's countries geographically located near one of the top 3 global production hubs, China, and become increasing attractive distinction for the foreign investor in ASEAN. Become increasing attractive access like China and US. It is present opportunity and risk for the ASEAN. One of the positive side is location of the production plant from China to the ASEAN country could further enhance for the participant to global production network. I mean, is when it's not suggest like a China everywhere. When the products is from the big country come through the ASEAN, it is one side is the opportunity of the ASEAN country. But on the flip side, the multinational cooperation could increase the decrease in ASEAN economic integration with the rest of the world, which make ASEAN country too weaker of the external shock. In the same time, when the products from the big country come to the ASEAN, sometimes is the small country in the ASEAN is quite difficult to control for that. So that it is very important. We could use the information and everything to be shared with the youth and next generation to be know what is the information to be prepare them to be ready for next free trade in the future. So in here for ASEAN identities. To me, ASEAN identity is referred to the 10 ASEAN member group. I mean, is that unique because it is based on national independence, non-interference, consultation, and consensus. It is ASEAN unique. When we explain or we try to speak with another country, dialogue partner or partners, it is the ASEAN unique. We should respect to each other. And then we try to be for youth to understand more. It's for more than 50 years ASEAN supported by the three pillars that Ambassador Daly mentioned. We have our ASEAN Economic Community, ASEAN Political Security Community, and ASEAN Social Culture Communities. It is a promoted regional cooperation and integration within ASEAN and between ASEAN and another world. So, for the example, I have example one thing is the key achievement under the ASEAN Economic Community in the signing of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership we call ASEP in 2020. With then look its effect on the 1st January 2022. It is considered with the 10 countries of the ASEAN and 5 countries of dialogue partners. It is about 1/3 of the global GDP and population. The large scale of the ASEP coupled with the improvement of the commitment to the liberalized trade investment should enhance trade and investment and promote more inclusive economic recovery in 2022. I mean, it is very big scale of the trade when we have a partner with the 5 dialogue partners. For the Raising Awareness ASEAN initiative, it is very important when we look for the youth and young generation. I support ASEAN initiative aimed at address public awareness and creating channels for engaging business and youth to promote more inclusive growth in the regions. The key content is the public awareness on ASEAN should include the changing trade and investment landscape and the regional and global level emerging opportunity and potential risks facing ASEAN. This should help business and labor adapt to new business and environment. What is the challenge in the ASEAN? Nowadays, we should prepare for the labor in the ASEAN to be included in the labor market of the ASEAN. So it is very important when we try to make a standard or good standard of the labor in the ASEAN. ASEAN Foundation is the main and the one point to be create or have an opportunity to be used for the young generation to be competition or ASEAN Foundation, they has many activity to push out what is the strength of the youth to be show off. Because when we try to them to be confident, it is very important when we grow up and then the next generation will be make a good opportunity for the young labor in the market. For the finals, when I mentioned with the ASEP, this is the agreement very big in 2022. It is the right time to be a translate for the ASEP provision on trade and investment into the national action plan and engage key stakeholders in implementation of the success plan in ASEAN country. I mean, when we have the big agreement, something like that, so the next step should be use the agreement to be an action plan in the ASEAN country, in the national plan. It is very important when we put the national, when we put the big agreement or the regionals, we call. It will be prepared for the national of the ASEAN to be make sure to be benefit for the all population of ASEAN, especially for the youth. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Intep, for the very insightful and details over the plan on economic recovery, on youth involvement, and how to build a better, more prosperous ASEAN region. So maybe Melissa, you want to add on, because I think the youth is still haven't hear something that we want to, advise them how they can contribute, to the region's prosperity. Yeah.
Thank you for that question, Edie Yang. So over the years, there has been a trend of ASEAN engaging with relevant stakeholders, and this includes youth-led organizations in developing the regions, developing this region and conveying the youth's thoughts to our leaders. So this is one way that the youth can contribute, and also ASEAN, is to continue this engagement between the youth and ASEAN's movers and shakers, the leaders. So at the sidelines of the recent 40th and 41st summit, there was an interface between ASEAN's leaders and youth leaders. So this has led to the youth, ASEAN youth issuing the recommendations to ASEAN Youth Dialogue. And this is a good step because the ASEAN youth now has a voice directly to the leaders, and they can, in that way, contribute to ASEAN community building. So this also signifies the growing commitment of ASEAN to strengthening the capacity and role of the youth in building the ASEAN community.
Thank you, Melissa, for these very good tips. I mean, first of all, if you want to be heard, usually you have to join some of our program. I'm not trying to sell products here, because we always design program, even ASEAN Foundation and some of the organization in agency and body in ASEAN has always worked so hard to prepare and give the platform to youth. So for us, we need you to participate. That is the first steps that you can take. If you do not do that, so how are we going to listen and get your points? So join some organization, join some of the activities that have this kind of capacity to platform to give you to voice up your view and suggestions. Because sometimes it's very surprising. During our last few programs, we have for instance, we have ASEAN Foundation Model ASEAN meeting, to model the meeting towards the summit. Youth are giving the role play functions, so they really, really give us very good inputs. They are like a 5 days kind of event, and youth from 10 ASEAN member states. And sometimes we also bring youth from other countries. For instance, this time we work with ACCF, China Mission. We bring in from China also youth. And also we blend in with the new generation's views. It's a very fruitful and very rich outcomes, from this sort of connection and networking. So we do provide this sort of opportunities for youth. So in terms of, I think, in terms of giving a youth play some role in terms of economy, perhaps it's by attending indirectly. I'm just pointing out some of the programs like ASEAN Data Science Explorer by SAP, Maybank Empowering Youth and all that, and Huawei Seeds for the Future. You can build your digital skill. So when you build your digital skill, you can work with companies and you can contribute to the economy, and recovery. And some of you actually join some of the program, like the one that we are going to design very soon, and we are going to sign the MOU with Huawei and also working with ASEC, is on social enterprises, startups and all that. So these are how youth can really, contribute to all the sectoral, the three sectoral kind of activities in ASEAN Secretariat. So for us, it's like whatever we are doing, like what Ambassador Derry has mentioned just now, that it is to support. ASEAN Foundation's work is to support, the ASEAN missions and ASEAN's roadmaps and all that, and UN SDGs. So for us, participate, be more active. We also have AHA here. We have AHA here, relief. So he needs a lot of volunteers, So this is how you can play your role, by helping the community, So indirectly and directly, you can always play a role. So of course now we jump into another matters that also interests the youth here is the gap among member states. We all know there are gaps. So this initiative for ASEAN integration was launched in year 2000, and it has since consolidated regional efforts in ensuring no one gets left behind. So for this, what is the currently what has been done in regional economic integration, and what challenges are there in addressing intra-regional inequality? So maybe we can go to Ambassador Derry. Ambassador Derry, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes. Maybe you can give your view, how to bridge the gap, boss.
Well, this is a very fundamental issue in ASEAN, because ASEAN is about integration. And if we want to integrate something, it means that in the end, everyone is at the same level. So the issue of narrowing the development gap is a very significant issue that ASEAN takes it very seriously. That is why we have the initiative for ASEAN integration, which we focus our program of work, our ideas and initiatives, our developments projects towards our fellow ASEAN member states, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. So up to now, we have reached to the state where the work plan is now already on the fourth phase, 2021-2025. So we have reached that number of work plan 4, which of course consists of all the programs, all the actions, all the initiatives that ASEAN together, ASEAN 10, have developed its focus and priorities towards narrowing this development gap, especially in the countries that I have mentioned before. So this remains a challenging issue for all of us in ASEAN, but I would say that we should be encouraged that the progress, the results are becoming even more useful and meaningful for our friends in Cambodia, in Laos, in Myanmar and Vietnam. But it will remain as an issue that all of us in ASEAN 10 needs to address, and especially with the background or the backdrop that I have mentioned before, with the global situation which affects our region. So we need to be even more resilient and even more serious in trying to deal with this integration of ASEAN and in narrowing the development gap. So if I may point out some of the challenges, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, I hope I'm correct with the term after, because I'm very confident that we will be soon in a phase that we have left behind the pandemic of COVID-19. Some of them is, of course, to sorry, I have to drink.
I think you can drink
Sorry.
some water first, sir. Yeah. And also maybe to add on to the question also, Ambassador,
Uh-huh.
since some of the member states are more well off, they are more developed, is there an initiative has been put in place like to really help each other in terms of resources and sharing of knowledge and all that?
Yeah, of course. That is part of the initiative of the ASEAN integration. So this initiative not only consists of development projects, which are supported by our external partners, our donor institutions, but also it's a way or a forum for all of us, the 10 ASEAN member states, to support each other, especially to support our friends in Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam.
Yeah.
So some of the challenges remains, uh, such as trade and investment, how to keep the markets open, and then about supply chain connectivity and resilience. Trade facilitation remains something that we need to enhance. And then in terms of trade, there are still non-tariff barriers and other sectors that needs to be strengthened and recovered. Tourism, MSMEs, which are very important for not only for countries within this initiative, but also for other ASEAN member states. And some other issues like public and private partnership. Those are the challenges that we have identified within the IAI, the Initiative for ASEAN Integration, that needs to be focused, that needs to be dealt seriously by, again, all of us, the 10 of us, through this mechanism of the Initiative for ASEAN Integration.
Ambassador, just one question I want to ask. I mean, it seems to be like among the 10 AMS, among the government. How about the private sectors? Can they play a role in here?
Of course, the private sector and other stakeholders outside the government are always welcome. We always try to engage them, try to have programs and projects which are interesting for them to join, for them to support. So as I mentioned before, the public-private partnership is one scheme that is very close to the initiative. So we are always open to the collaboration from the private sector, and not only within the business sector in ASEAN, but also the business sector with our partners outside ASEAN.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. I think there's one last question before I take questions from the floor or questions from the virtual audience. I mean, for virtual audience, please put your questions in the box, in the chat box, and my team will actually send it to me via my mobile phone. So please feel free to put, even on the side, if you want to create any questions, please, by all means. And we will have about 7 to 8 minutes later for questions. But before I go to the questions, I would like to ask one more questions to 3 of our special guest panel, which is, I think most of us here would like to know is, on November 11, 2022, ASEAN agreed in principle to admit Timor-Leste as the organization's 11th member, with a roadmap for full membership set to be submitted at next year's summit. So what significance does Timor-Leste accession has on the regional geopolitics and economic advancement? Anyone here would like to take Melissa first, maybe, and then after that we give the floor to Ambassador. Yeah, Melissa. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Edie Yang, for that question. I think it's important to take a look at, or at least underscore the well-placed position of Timor-Leste in our region. So peace and stability and economic stability are what ASEAN is, one of the cornerstones of what ASEAN aspires to have, and they go hand in hand. So in order to have peace and stability, it's a precursor. So having peace and stability is precursor to trade, economic prosperity, and at the same time, economic stability fosters peace. So in this regard, the admission in principle of Timor-Leste would pave the way eventually of its accession and would ensure that the entirety of the region, without exception, could be within the sphere of ASEAN and could therefore, influence the peace and stability of the entire region, including Timor-Leste. And that would be advantageous to ASEAN as a whole region.
Thank you. So it's more on geopolitical
Not just
portion.
there's also for Timor-Leste, it could, of course, there's benefits on both sides. For Timor-Leste, Timor-Leste could say have access to ASEAN market, and that is advantageous to TL.
Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, we're actually waiting to see more of this. After next year, we have a clearer picture. Maybe Ambassador Derry, you would like to add some points on this matter?
Well, thank you again, Executive Director. And in addition to what Melissa have provided, along the lines of what she has mentioned, on this issue, it's of course everyone have to accept and understand that it's a very political issue for ASEAN. So it represents the solidness, the unity within the geographical aspects of Southeast Asia. So for Indonesia, the inclusion of Timor-Leste as a member of ASEAN is something that we see it as a natural thing. It's unavoidable, and it relates with political considerations. So, of course, we all need to be also aware that there are consequences and implications to this. It is clear that in terms of having Timor-Leste to be one member of ASEAN, Timor-Leste would need our support, which basically is about capacity building, such as in physical infrastructure, logistics readiness, readiness to attend all ASEAN meetings as a member. You are obliged to attend it. Human capital development, legal and justice system, substantive expertise. So those are challenges that not only Timor-Leste needs to deal with it, but also the rest of us, 10 ASEAN member states, should think about it and what kind of support and contribution we can provide to our friends in Timor-Leste. So there are some expectations from the observer status that have been provided to Timor-Leste. For Indonesia, it's all about the know-how on ASEAN meetings and mechanisms that by an observership, Timor-Leste may proceed in a faster learning process, and also human development assistance from ASEAN member states and external partners is expected by this observership. So in the end, whether we can debate on this, but Indonesia is of the position that the membership of Timor-Leste in the near future would bring not only challenges for ASEAN itself, but it would definitely provide positive and meaningful things that ASEAN may not have projected before, but being together in ASEAN within the geographical consideration, political consideration, and socio-cultural consideration, this would be something positive and progressive for ASEAN. The challenge would mainly on the economic side on how ASEAN stays resilient and full of economic activities, but with the new membership from Timor-Leste. So that would be some of my additional thoughts.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you,
very
Ambassador
much.
Derry. So I think I will actually open the floor. We have 5 more minutes before the end of this session. Maybe some of the youth here on site. Yeah, I saw hand raising. Any mic can be passed to them for questions. Yeah. State your name first. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Excellencies. My name is Randa Sandita, and you can call me Randa. I am one of alumni from ASEAN Foundations. I'm taking this opportunity to ask a question for every speaker there. Every speaker keep mentioning about participations and youth engagement, meaningful engagement, and opportunities for youth. And I'd like to ask and how each member state could ensure youth community or youth business have opportunities to involve in this development and how to sustain their participations. Is there any decision-making process that youth being involved in? Because, or any participation on youth on the program planning on each member states that have. Because we as a youth would like not only want to be seen as beneficiaries, but we would like to see as development partner as well. Thank you.
Thank you. May I pass the question to any of, maybe Intep, you would like to answer? How to actually continuously, sustainably engage youth in the decision-making process for ASEAN matters, yeah. Because they don't want just one time, huh? You just want to continuously have your voice in the decision-making. Yeah. Do you have any views that you would like to give? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for your question. For my view, it is the challenge for us because actually we know in the ASEAN Foundation in here, we have activity a lot every year. And actually, and I know in the information from the website or ASEAN Foundation, we have more than 10 programs. We make activities by the start of the year until the end of the year. So the question, how can we make it further to be consistent or make it that every year? I mean, is this the ASEAN work for the boss of trustee to be consist with the dialogue partner and private sector or the company or any sectoral holder to be more than engaged with the ASEAN, especially if they like to be participate in the formal channel. Is we have actually in the ASEAN we have the meeting with the dialogue partners is every year. So then we in the board of trustee we engage with them to be more participate for the ASEAN activity, especially for the youth and the young generation, especially when in the IAI task force we encourage with the dialogue partner every year and they are confirmed and they have a commitment with us. They will be support us, especially such as like China, Australia, or Japan or something. They're proud, they're happy to be help us. So then the next step, what can we do in the ASEAN? So as ASEAN Foundation will be have a planned years for work plan for 1 year or 3 years. It is to make sure to be makes activity to be consistent.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you,
thank
Intep.
you.
Thank you. I think what is the point is to again continuously engage with the programs. And I think ASCC sectoral in ASEAN Secretary also, when they have the senior official meeting, they do invite some youth organizations to give their updates and sharing. So I have always been attending some of them, been invited to update on what ASEAN Foundation has been doing for this ASEC. I think the policymakers are listening to it and taking notes. Of course, the most active platform I usually see youth engagement is environmental, because their passion is really there. Because of that, also ASEAN Foundation is creating a new pillars this coming year. We already started with environmental pillars. So we also in discussion with like our very supportive partners like China Mission on environmental programs. So hopefully, Mr. Huang, I'm just trying to get the support here more. He's in front here at the VIP seat. So to actually support some of our initiatives so the youth are given the platform and opportunity to play their role to build a better world for them in future, for everyone. So I think, Melissa, we have no more time, but I would like you to say something before we close, and then I will just wrap up this session. Thank you.
Very quickly now,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think it's important to sync the regional priorities with the national priorities, and that entails everyone working together. So there is the ASEAN Youth Work Plan 2021 to 2025, and that spells out the regional priorities. It's up to us to maybe call on our leaders at the national level to ensure that your priority on youth is placed on the forefront, and then we recognize the importance that the youth would give to building a prosperous ASEAN region, not just because the youth have their own experiences, have their own views, and definitely will give a meaningful contribution to building the ASEAN community.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melissa. I think that's all for our first session today. Thank you for your time. And then stay put, stay on with us until the end of the program. We still have 2 more sessions, a very exciting session after this. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Yang and Excellencies, for the very insightful and engaging conversation.
From the session, we learned that currently ASEAN as a region are still facing a lot of pressing issues, ranging from the food and energy crisis to the ongoing economic recoveries from the COVID-19 pandemics, and not to mention that ASEAN as an entity still has to prepare its younger generation to be ready in the labor market, and not to mention we still have to close and narrow the gap between ASEAN member states. But don't worry, we also learned from the session that there are ways for us as youth to participate and engage.
Absolutely. And citing from Ambassador Derry, Ms. Melissa, Mr. Intep, and Dr. Yang, that youth not only plays a crucial but also a meaningful role in tackling the issues that the world is facing and the region is facing in particular. Thus, they could contribute by working together and support the ASEAN growth in the future. Hence, the role of the ASEAN Foundation in connecting youth in the region to be able to come up with a solution to solve the issues.
Yeah, because ASEAN matters since it will be the epicentrum of growth. And now, we are very excited to announce that the next activity would be the series of MOU signings between our programs within ASEAN Foundations and our partner. Today, we would be witnessing 2 MOU signing, which are, first, the MOU signing between ASEAN Foundation and Huawei on ASEAN Market Access Program, and MOU signing between the ASEAN Foundation and Huawei on cloud system. For the first MOU signing on ASEAN Market Access Program, we would like to invite the Executive Director of ASEAN Foundation, Dr. Yang Mi-eng, and the Vice President, Director of Board of Huawei Indonesia, Mr. James Sun, to come to the signing table and have a seat. Karena nanti ada
Next, we would like to call His Excellencies DSG Satvinder Singh, the Deputy Secretary General of the ASEAN for the ASEAN Economic Community, His Excellencies Ambassador Aung Myo Min, Mr. Jun Zhang, the Vice President of Public Affairs and Communications of Huawei Asia Pacific, Mr. Jason Chang, CEO of Huawei Cloud Indonesia, to come to the signing table and witness the signing.
And while waiting for the preparation of the signing ceremony, let's have a look first at the ASEAN Foundation video on the screen. Okay, now let's take a look at our left side of the building where the ASEAN Foundation and Huawei will be signing the MOU on ASEAN Market Access Program. Okay. Thank you and congratulations, Dr. Yang, Mr. James, DSG Satvinder, Ambassador Myo Min, Mr. Jun, and Mr. Jason. Please remain at the signing table for the photo session.
Thank you very much. Next, we would like to ask Dr. Yang to remain at the signing table and DSG Satvinder, Ambassador Myo Min, Mr. Jun to remain as witness. For the second MOU signing on cloud system, we would like to invite Mr. Jason to take seat next to Dr. Yang to sign the MOU. Mr. James will witness the MOU signing alongside DSG Satvinder, Ambassador Myo Min, and Mr. Jun.
Thank you, Dr. Yang, Mr. Jason, DSG Satvinder, Ambassador Myo Min, and Mr. James. Please remain at the signing table for the photo session.
Thank you and congratulations once again. DSG Satvinder, Dr. Yang, Ambassador Myo Min, Mr. Jun, Mr. James, Mr. Jason. We hope that this new partnership will help us bring more benefits to young people in the ASEAN region.
Ambassadors, partners, alumni, attendants, we would like to invite you for a photo session. You may remain seated in your seat as the photo will be taken from the stage. And for the photographer, you may go on the stage to direct the attendants And for our online attendance, we will take the photo afterwards. Oke. Sedikit lebih tinggi ya hari ini. Thank you so much, everyone. And now, for our online attendance, we invite you to also open your camera, and on the count of 3, please smile as we will be taking also the picture of you. On the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3, please smile, everyone. Okay, thank you so much.
And once again, we would like to remind everyone to fill in the survey for this event by scanning the QR code on the screen.
And up next, we will have a short break. Please feel free to enjoy the snacks, coffee, and refreshment that the ASEAN Foundation has provided outside that we have prepared for you. And for those participating online, you can also take a short break and grab your coffee as well. We will see you again in 15 minutes. And have a nice break, everyone.
I would like to invite Dr. Yang Mi-A, ASEAN Foundation Director, to deliver her opening remarks.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 6th ASEAN Data Science Explorer Regional Finals 2022.
So this initiative was something that we founded in 2017 together with the ASEAN Foundation, really with the mission to imbue.
Many companies are trying to make us to buy more clothes, but do we actually need it?
Let us introduce you to our recommendation, which is smart energy.
Today, we proudly present to you Yesan, your electricity saving assistant.
Secondly is education. Together and mismanaged plastic come from mindset and personalities.
As there is a lack of education and proper waste management as farmers continue to practice the leading model.
The first target audience of our solution, because we want to solve the
are struggling with food, so they have food crisis. They have food security issues whenever there's...
Oh no, how can we meet the demand also for these green jobs while trying to build an inclusive, sustainable green economy?
Due to what I said, that there are two main factors, which is the weight that we put on the cities also, and
furthermore, 76% of e-waste is not documented, while the rest is dumped into household waste.
funding yourself, or you have to solve some potential partner thing.
But who's going to make those investments in actually setting the vermicomposting up?
Like
Who's that target?
Farming is very important, and we need to find ways to help it.
How you are going to roll out your technology, and what is your real technology that's going to make an impact?
What exactly is the solution?
A very big scale, big scale project.
For SAP and the ASEAN Foundation, we are joined by our shared purpose to drive positive social impact for ASEAN and to build a brighter future together. And to all the contestants, you are our future.
I hope this will open up to more platforms and opportunities for our younger generations.
Overall, the program has been very well organized by Huawei, and it's just a fun experience for all of us participants and also the organizers themselves. So we had a lot of fun here in Thailand, visiting all the tourist attractions, and also we learned a lot from the programs that are offered here.
This program is actually aiming at providing a very good platform for innovations and creativity for youth in ASEAN. There are overall 16 countries participations in this program.
Us from the ASEAN Foundation, we have to team up with different people from different countries, and I've learned a lot on how we can exchange ideas and concepts and other realities that we have experienced in our own countries so that we can solve other problems in our personal countries as well.
They are learning new technology and how to apply to solve the social and economic and community issues in their own community.
I learned a lot about like what Huawei is as a company and what's their core values and stuff. And what's more amazing is actually we got to experience, the technology that Huawei is adopting in all sorts of fields.
It provides a very good platform for youth from all over the 16 countries to share experience, knowledge, and it actually creates a lot of good ideas.
This program trains us to know more about digital skills, and we can know more about AI, cloud computing, machine learning. It's something that's very crucial so that we can implement that knowledge in order to make something that can be impact to our society.
Although we are here to learn and try our best to join and win the competition, we should also enjoy the time we have here, especially make friends. We should spend the time to learn about the different cultures, how diverse it is, how wonderful the other cultures is, and try to immerse ourselves in it. So not only that we will gain the experience, the culture, and the knowledge, but we need to have fun as well.
We are very happy with this public-private partnership, and we see a lot of great synergy created in this sphere. We hope to continue this partnership for a longer time to create a better future for world and our future generation.
Asia Pacific seats for the future. Yeah!
I think the biggest challenge for me is I have really low confidence. When I was able to get in, I was really so happy that finally I was able to go to travel and meet a lot of new people, and it helped me gain more confidence in myself and believe in myself that I can do anything.
I would like to invite Dr. Yang Min, ASEAN Foundation Director, to deliver her opening remarks.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 6th ASEAN Data Science Explorer Regional Finals 2022.
So this initiative was something that we founded in 2017 together with the ASEAN Foundation, really with the mission to imbue.
Many companies are trying to make us to buy more clothes, but do we actually need it?
Let us introduce you to our recommendation, which is smart energy.
Today, we proudly present to you YESAN, your electricity saving assistant.
Secondly is education. Together and mismanaged plastic come from mindset and personalities.
As there is a lack of education on proper waste management as farmers continue to practice the leading model.
The first target audience of our solution, because we want to solve the
are struggling with food, so they have food crisis. They have food security issues whenever there's...
Oh no, how can we meet the demand also for these green jobs while trying to build an inclusive, sustainable green economy?
Due to what I said, that there are two main factors, which is the weight that we put on the cities also, and
Furthermore, 76% of e-waste is not documented, while the rest is dumped into household waste.
Funding yourself, or you have to solve some potential penalty.
But who's going to make those investments in actually setting the vermicomposting up? Who is that target?
Farming is very important, and we need to find ways to help it.
How you are going to roll out your technology, and what is your real technology that's going to make an impact?
What exactly is the solution?
A very big scale, big scale project.
For SAP and the ASEAN Foundation, we are joined by our shared purpose to drive positive social impact for ASEAN and to build a brighter future together. And to all the contestants, you are our future.
I hope this will open up to more platforms and opportunities for our younger generations.
Overall, the program has been very well organized by Huawei, and it's just a fun experience for all of us participants and also the organizers themselves. So we had a lot of fun here in Thailand, visiting all the tourist attractions, and also we learned a lot from the programs that are offered here.
This program is actually aiming at providing a very good platform for innovations and creativity for youth in ASEAN. There are overall 16 countries participations in this program.
Us from the ASEAN Foundation, we have to team up with different people from different countries, and I've learned a lot on how we can exchange ideas and concepts and other realities that we have experienced in our own countries so that we can solve other problems in our personal countries as well.
They are learning new technology and how to apply to solve the social and economic and community issues in their own community.
I learned a lot about what Huawei is as a company and what's their core values and stuff. And what's more amazing is actually we get to experience, the technology that Huawei is adopting in all sorts of fields.
It provides a very good platform for youth from all over the 16 countries to share experience, knowledge, and it actually creates a lot of good ideas.
This program trains us to know more about digital skills, and we can know more about AI, cloud computing, machine learning. It's something that's very crucial so that we can implement that knowledge in order to make something that can be impact to our society.
Although we are here to learn and try our best to join and win the competition, we should also enjoy the time we have here, especially make friends. We should spend the time to learn about the different cultures, how diverse it is, how wonderful the other cultures is, and try to immerse ourselves in it. So not only that we will gain the experience, the culture, and the knowledge, but we need to have fun as well.
We are very happy with this public-private partnership, and we see a lot of great synergy created in this sphere. We hope to continue this partnership for a longer time to create a better future for world and our future generation.
Asia Pacific seats for the future. Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge for me is I have really low confidence. When I was able to get in, I was really so happy that finally I was able to go to travel and meet a lot of new people, and it helped me gain more confidence in myself and believe in myself that I can do anything.
I would like to invite Dr. Yang Mi-Eng, ASEAN Foundation Director, to deliver her opening remarks.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 6th ASEAN Data Science Explorer Regional Finals 2022.
So this initiative was something that we founded in 2017 together with the ASEAN Foundation, really with the mission to imbue.
Many companies are trying to make us to buy more clothes, but do we actually need it?
Let us introduce you to our recommendation, which is smart energy.
Today, we proudly present to you ASEAN, your electricity saving assistant.
Secondly is education. Scattered and mismanaged plastic come from mindset and personalities.
As there is a lack of education and proper waste management as farmers continue to practice the leading model.
The first target audience of our solution, because we want to solve the
are struggling with food, so they have food crisis. They have food security issues whenever there's...
How can we meet the demand also for these green jobs while trying to build an inclusive, sustainable green economy?
Due to what I said, that there are two main factors, which is the weight that we put on the cities also, and
furthermore, 76% of e-waste is not documented, while the rest is dumped into household waste.
Funding yourself, or you have to solve some potential alternative.
But who's going to make those investments in actually setting the vermicomposting up? Who is that target?
Farming is very important, and we need to find ways to help them.
Check how you are going to roll out.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen,
to make an impact.
I would like to invite you to come back to your...
Very big scale, big scale project.
For SAP and the ASEAN Foundation, we are joined by our shared purpose to drive positive social impact for ASEAN and to build a brighter future together. And to all the contestants, you are our future.
I hope this will open up to more platforms and opportunities for our younger generations.
Overall, the program has been very well organized by Huawei, and it's just a fun experience for all of us participants and also the organizers themselves. So we had a lot of fun here in Thailand, visiting all the tourist attractions, and also we learned a lot from the programs that are offered here.
This program is actually aiming at providing a very good platform for innovations and creativity for youth in ASEAN. There are overall 16 countries participations in this program.
Us from the ASEAN Foundation, we have to team up with different people from different countries, and I've learned a lot on how we can exchange ideas and concepts and other realities that we have experienced in our own countries so that we can solve other problems in our personal countries as well.
They are learning new technology and how to apply to solve the social and economic and community issues in their own community.
I learned a lot about what Huawei is as a company and what's their core values and stuff. And what's more amazing is actually we get to experience, the technology that Huawei is adopting in all sorts of fields.
It provides a very good platform for youth from all over the 16 countries to share experience, knowledge, and it actually creates a lot of good ideas.
This program trains us to know more about digital skills, and we can know more about AI, cloud computing, machine learning. It's something that's very crucial so that we can implement that knowledge in order to make something that can be impact to our society.
Although we are here to learn and try our best to join and win the competition, we should also enjoy the time we have here, especially make friends. We should spend the time to learn about the different cultures, how diverse it is, how wonderful the other cultures is, and try to immerse ourselves in it. So not only that we will gain the experience, the culture, and the knowledge, but we need to have fun as well.
We are very happy with this public-private partnership, and we see a lot of great synergy created in this sphere. We hope to continue this partnership for a longer time to create a better future for world and our future generation.
Asia Pacific seats for the future. Yeah!
I think the biggest challenge for me is I have really low
Welcome back, everyone, to the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Townhall. We hope that you all had a restful break and ready for the next session.
Next, up on our agenda, we'll have an insightful session with our alumni where they will share about their experience in joining ASEAN Foundation programs and how those learnings have helped them in their career. And this session will be moderated by our very own Barnef Theodore Soukota, or Theo, from the ASEAN Foundation. Over to you, Theo.
Thank you again for such a nice introduction and also using my full name for the introduction. I think we have started the day with a very high-level discussion around how the region looks like from our Board of Trustee point of view. I think now, as the title of the Alumni Town Hall is actually Interactive Alumni Town Hall Connecting with Youth, I think now it's only relevant if we actually invite our alumni to join us on stage. We actually have more than 10 programs, so if we want to invite each alumni, I think then we will have around 15 chairs in the stage, but today we will only have 4 joining us, but I think they represent the voices of youth participating in our programs as well. My name is Theo, I'm the moderator for the discussion, and for the topic is preparing youth to build and thrive in future careers, how to increase your employability through internship, and ASEAN Foundation programs as building blocks for future careers. To join me on stage, I would like to invite 4 of our amazing alumni. First is Yona Dominic, Angelo, Muhammad Naim Lukman, and Ryan Jonathan. Please give your big round of applause for 4 of them. Yeah. I hope all of you joining virtually or on site already fill your stomach and maybe already get that bubble tea and maybe recharge yourself after such a long night. Last night, Argentina versus France. I think it's just only relevant if you talk about it because it just happens literally 8 or 12 hours ago. Welcome, 4 of you. Before we go into the topic, let's do a little bit of introduction and maybe mention your name, what program you're participating, perhaps what year, and maybe one unique fact about the program that you find. As we only have one lady, I think ladies first. Yona, take it.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a pleasure to attend this event. Thank you, ASEAN Foundation, for having me here. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Iona Dominic. You guys can call me Iona. I believe some of the faces in here are quite familiar, as I've met some of you guys. Previously, I was participating in the Seats for the Future program. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Fun fact, it's actually my first time to work in a team with people from different Southeast Asian countries. And it was a fun experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Yona. And maybe to make it voluntary, you can choose the next one to introduce themselves.
All right, I'll pass it to Naim. You can.
Okay, thank you, Yona, for the short introductions. So moving to me, my name is Muhammad Naim Lukman. You can call me Naim. Previously, I was an alumni for empowering youth across ASEAN programs, programs under ASEAN Foundations and Maybank Foundations. So the program was in 2020, but it's dragged into 2022 this year because the pandemic. But believe me, the uniqueness of this program because of how it's dragged and how dynamic we are during this program to really adjust to the current situations. Yeah, that's all from me.
And you can choose the next one, Naim.
Next, I will choose Angelo.
Okay, hi everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Angelo. I participated in the AFMAM back in Manila in the Philippines a couple of years back. I believe it's more than...
You don't want to mention the year?
I know.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah.
And then I think the year after, I attended the AFMAM TOT back in this room as well. So it's really good to be back, and thank you so much for having me once again.
I guess, and then last but not least, Wayan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wayan Rizaldo Widianata. You can call me Wayan or Aldi. I was the alumni for ASEAN Data Science Explorers back in 2020, where I learned a lot about data analytics and also data science. And also it to us, I think one of my first experience in ASEAN Foundation, and the ASEAN Data Science Explorers is done virtually. Back then, because of the pandemic, and we were supposed to go to the Cambodia, but we eventually only go virtually back then.
And one unique fact about the program, perhaps, or your experience?
One unique fact about ASEAN Data Science Explorers is it makes you to think like a consultant, I think.
I think that's good. Very necessary when you look for jobs.
You will go to the high level of thinking and then go to the solution and then go up. But first, you have to present the finding first, and then you make the flow until you come up with the solution.
Thank you, Wayan. I think as you can see, everyone joining virtually and also on site, we have representative of different programs and also working with different partners. We have ADSE with SAP, we have Seeds for the Future with Huawei, we have Empowering Youth with Maybank Foundation, but we also have AFMAM, one of our flagship our program that we try to keep doing each year, and it's also representing different pillars we have in our foundation: community building, education, and also media and literacy. So I think the discussion today hopefully will be very fruitful, and I think just from their bit of introduction, I think we can expect a lot. If you have any question joining virtually, you can use the Slido link, and if you're on site later, I think in the last 15 minutes, you can just raise your hand if you have any questions for all the 4 amazing speakers we have today. Yeah, and I think just a brief before we go into, I think the first question I will start from Wayan, because you are the last to introduce yourself. I think this year, ASEAN Secretariat actually declared this year as the year for youth. I think if you follow ASEAN Secretariat Instagram, you will see that a lot of communication collaterals, promotion is echoing the message that youth is the key driver to do a lot of things, whether it's economic, whether it's environment, whether it's social. One thing that I think we will focus today is around how then these youth-led programs can help all of us, including me, since I'm still in the definition of young people of the ASEAN. So yeah, I think to start then regarding the reflection around career and skills, I think I will start from Wayan. I think Wayan is being very humble about his background. He is currently part of the data analytics team in one of the leading bank in Indonesia. And you also graduated from engineering physics from Institut Teknologi Bandung.
That's right.
Yeah, one of the leading university as well in Indonesia. And maybe circling it back to our discussion today, my first question for you to start our discussion today, Wayan. How do you cope with a career that is perhaps a little bit different from your academic qualification? I think this is related to a lot of meme around expectation versus reality. Could you just give more reflection around that?
Yeah. So I was graduated from engineering physics. It's not degree that a lot of people want to pursue, I think. And then in there, I also didn't learn much about data analytics, but the fundamentals is still there, like mathematics and so on. And then how I cope with that, when I first starting the ASEAN Data Science Explorers, I actually learned a lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot, a huge amount of new things that I learned from ASEAN Data Science Explorers, because my topic, which we actually, the ASEAN Data Science Explorers is a 2-person team that we pick back then is not related to my degree or my background. And then, so I have to learn a lot new things to create a presentation, to create an analysis and the solution which are not related to my background. And then my greatest insight from the ASEAN Data Science Explorers is I think it makes me, learn, it helps, shapes me the framework of learning how to learn new things. I think it's the most important. And how I cope with that is, I think ASEAN Data Science Explorer is being one of my greatest and best experience in learning, and I got the framework of how to learn new things. And I think it's important to know about how to learn new things, because eventually you will end up with some career or some things that were not related to the degree or background you were pursuing.
Mhm.
Eventually, you will not 100% end up with the same exact background that you learned back then. So I think it's important to learn new things, and that's how I cope with that.
Just a follow-up question before I jump into Naim. Will you then, I think looking back at your experience with the Data Science Explorer program, will you then encourage other young people to maybe diversify their interests a little bit rather than, oh, I'm just engineering student, I'm just gonna study about engineering.
Yeah.
What will be your reflection?
Yeah. I think it's great for engineering students to learn about data analytics. It's one of the most sought after topics and career right now. So there's no, I think you just pursue it and expand maybe your knowledge about data analytics, because it's really a great experience to learn.
Thank you, Wayan, for starting our discussion. I think now let's move to Naim. Naim is one of our alumni from Empowering Youth across ASEAN program, and I think looking at your profile, Naim, I think one of your life principle is there is no me I do not know, which I think connect really well with what the message from Wayan around, always making ourselves to learn new things, which means that you want to seek knowledge, apply it, and achieve the best result possible. My question, I guess, to continue this conversation for you, Naim, is do you agree that applying the knowledge you learn shapes you more into a competent person in your career choices? And perhaps, why do you think so? Like, what's the background thinking from that?
Okay, thank you, Theo, for the questions, and thank you, Yan, for the first introductions. So first, I would like to quote first what Wayan said. He said about to find the fundamentals when you are studying, or perhaps you're working. Please find the fundamentals first. So my life principle is there is no me I don't know, which I can't simply say or afford to say, oh sorry I don't know, or sorry I can't do it, or sorry I don't have any information about it. Because like working in any organizations or company, you must try to learn it first, whatever or regardless any of your seniors or peers or any of your managers asking you, please help me to do this, or please do some research of this area, and please help me to realize this project. You need to learn first, because there's situations where I was asked by my managers that I need to do some projects which I don't have any prior knowledge or don't have any fundamentals about it. But to get what he wants, I try to seek the knowledge, because like it's really, because we have internet nowadays, and it's really lots of information there. Even you can subscribe any crash course in Udemy or Coursera, and you can refer to YouTube as well. So lots of information there, and I get the knowledge from there. And to apply it in the industry level is you try to make it first. I mean, like align the projects, and perhaps maybe you can realize it like 50%. So don't make it like fully finish it, the project, because you still need to refer with your superior on how the knowledge you gain and how you really apply it. Because is nothing if you make it until 100% and suddenly your superior say that, oh, this is not what I want. Like, it's wasting of time. But while you are doing it, refer to your superior, is it this what you want? And towards finishing the projects, and you can meet their expectations. And what to say in this, my life principle is, it really resonates with my previous program with ASEAN Foundations and MOU Foundations, ASEAN Empowering Youth across ASEAN countries, which I was grouped into the arts and culture, which I don't have any skills towards arts or any prior information towards culture. But yeah, I still need to work on it, whereas ASEAN Foundations have put me in and try to know what the project is about and what they are trying to deliver and what's the best outcomes they want. So during that time is in the midst of pandemic of COVID-19 and we can't even being there for physically is to meet the stakeholders there. But we try to manage it through online platform. We try to get like weekly meeting to get any follow-ups or any missing things. Yeah. Towards the end, we able to realize the project and feel grateful that towards the end of the project and we already end the projects, we have the closing event with the stakeholders and we able to meet few participants from other countries and we discuss a lot like how to sustain the projects, how to give continuous contributions on this project. Yeah. And I believe what I was joining in ASEAN Foundation program is really helpful for me in terms of expanding my careers and how it resonates for me to have that skills and apply it in the industry level. Thank you.
Thank you, Naim. Maybe just a follow-up because I think then I will move to this side of the stage. You mentioned something about realizing that we don't know something and seek clarification from our supervisor, learning new things, maybe enroll yourself in Coursera, like educate yourself about things that you don't know. And you mentioned towards the end that, for example, you finish a program, you do a closing, and I believe there are learnings that you get. I think along the way, whether it's we are studying or whether when we are entering, I think you mentioned a little bit about your career, there will be a moment when you start as someone that I don't know this, and then after 1 year, I know this a little bit. The second year, I know this quite well. The third year, maybe you're like, I'm very good at it. But what will be your advice? Should we be more humble and keep maintaining that curiosity, or can we own that, well, we are actually really good at some of the stuffs, and while we want to continue learn, you need to still be confident in like, I'm actually really good at it. Like, what will be your reflections?
Okay, great questions from Theo. Okay, first and foremost, the fundamental is to be humble. That's the first things. Second things, even you are the experts or you are really good in it, please first have to show and embrace that you have a capacity or room to grow, because I believe most of superiors wanna brace you or give you more skills. So please have some room to grow because your skills is not limited into that level. There's still like lots of things you want to discover, and maybe you have another issues or any problems that it will need like others people to involve in. Yeah, and other things is being in that area that you are really experts, it needs for you to be passionate about the right place you choose. So please choose the right place and career that you really wanted to grow, and that's your choice. It's not other people's choice. Yeah.
Thanks, Naim. Not to put two of you with more pressures, but I think this side has been throwing a lot of, I think, quotes. I think our comms team could do something about that. There are a lot of like reflections, really great learning that I think we all hear. And I think I will go to Angelo first. Angelo, I think you mentioned you are part of the AFMAM alumni, but I think you are also working with BCG and you're also involved in Y20, I think, with Indonesia chairmanship for G20. This year. I think to continue this conversation, then I think my question for you, Angelo, is currently I think we have talked about the general elements around career, the value that we need to have, what kind of mindset. I think that is the first part of the discussion. But then currently you work in a climate tech company that provides environmental services based in Indonesia. I want to make it more specific now. Based on your thoughts, what skill set would you recommend for job-seeking youth out there to possess when perhaps they are applying for a position in climate tech company? Yeah.
Right. Just to clarify, so I'm no longer working with BCG. I'm working now in a climate tech startup called Feratmas.
Yeah.
We're trying to sort of bridge the demand and supply of carbon credits, especially in Indonesia, and how sort of like do we empower more smallholder farmers and communities so that they can sort of harness the benefits from carbon sequestration, so that bigger companies can buy credits from them. A couple of skill sets that I think would be important for young people, especially recent graduates, when they want to apply for jobs. I think this is based on my experience working in this new startup. We're like very agile. There are a lot of moving parts. Number one, I think it's very important to be able to synthesize information, because I think in a startup sort of environment where things are moving very fast, you need to be able to synthesize information, what's important, what kind of what kind of information you can ignore, what are the next steps from having this and that kind of conversations with a lot of different people and different parties. I'm working in the CEO office, so I need to deal with a lot of other C-levels, because I'm helping my CEO to sort of lay out the grand strategy of where our company is moving towards. So I think it's very important to have that. I think number two is to have, a logical and structural thinking, because when you have and a lot of information here and there, it's very easy to get lost in those information, and it's very important to be able to think logically and sort of back again, synthesize the information, right? And then I think number three, what I find very important as a skill when I apply to this job is learning, relearning, and unlearning. Because previously I interned in a research institute for environment called the World Resources Institute. I learned a lot of climate change issues there at the World Bank. In my first year at the World Bank, I dealt a lot with environmental issues in Indonesia. But here and now in this very company, I had to unlearn a lot of things from what I learned a couple of years back, and to relearn a lot of other things, because the development in this scene is just very fast, and technologies are moving very fast as well. So I think those are sort of the skills that I would suggest young people and recent graduates to have.
Maybe just follow up before Yona. Then I think you mentioned you learn about climate, but then to tie it back to, I think you are part of AMMAM. I think one interesting thing that you mentioned is that you are working with your CEO, and you will meet a lot of other C-level individuals. Do you think when you do AFMAM and maybe AFMAM training, that basically you try out to be the ambassadors or high-level diplomats of ASEAN member states, is there any specific style when you do AFMAM that you are like, actually, what I did in AFMAM could actually be applicable in private sector? Like mimicking diplomats in government setting maybe could actually work in private setting.
Interesting. I won't say anything about working with the government. I think it's a very interesting space.
Yeah. We love the word interesting. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is like the applicable skill that I got from AFMAM, trying to speak diplomatically about something.
Yeah, is that something that you find throughout working in private setting then?
Anyways, no, I think, because in AFMAM we try to sort of play the role of other countries, right? When I was doing AFMAM, I was representing Laos. So I had to unlearn a lot of things, like from the Indonesian context, and try to relearn things about things in Laos context. So I think that's what I think is applicable in what I'm doing now, because I started my career at the World Bank. I learned a lot. I had to unlearn those things when I entered BCG in management consulting. Now I had to unlearn all those things again and relearn new things when I entered this startup scene.
Thank you, Angelo. And I think last for our first part of the discussion, Yona, one of our alumni from SEEDS for the future. I think Yona, you are currently studying at BINUS, and I think your team that participate in SEEDS program actually one of the winning team as well with Enable project. I think maybe you can later explain what is Enable, but then before I think I give the floor to you, I think my question to you, Yona, is around
Enable project was chosen as one of the regional Tech for Good competition winners. And I think as we already discussed a lot of like just general conventional employment market, I think then we kind of need to dive it deeper and saying, okay, we already talked about the general employment scheme, but how does it look for marginalized group or for other groups that could be missing from the general conversation? And I think Enable was doing that. The question is, do you think providing sufficient workshops or training to prepare people with disability will also help them to secure their career? And maybe just give a little bit of info and pitch for the audience around what is Enable. Yeah.
All right, first of all, thank you for the question, Theo. It was a really interesting question. And representing my team, A2 team, I hope you guys are watching this as well. Well, yeah, the answer is definitely. Creating sufficient workshops or trainings would help to prepare people with disability to boost their careers. I mean, like, we want to emphasize that people with or without disability, we actually have the same opportunity, we have the same time in this whole world. So when it comes to securing a job, we strongly agree that everyone will go through the same process of preparing your CVs, go into trainings, pursue that education or the field that you're interested in when you're young, and you prepare your future with the designated career that you want, right? But the fact is, after conducting lots of research, and we did also contacted lots of resource persons, the fact that in Southeast Asia, there's a huge barrier. For instance, like the inclusive recruitment quotas are still low. And second of all, there's like a prejudgments from certain companies, and there's a lack of open opportunities for people with disabilities. But in fact, there's maybe like a misunderstanding as well. Furthermore, there's a lack of accessibility of informations for people with disabilities when it comes to accessing informations when they want to apply for jobs. It's still limited up to this day. So that's what Enable is trying to tackle in Southeast Asia. We're trying to assist people with disabilities to gain jobs, and at the end of the day, to have better opportunities just like everyone in this room.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Yona. And I think I think you hit the core when mentioning about, I think everyone will just need to go through the same process anyway, submitting CVs, applying, talking to maybe the same HR around the jobs that you are applying. And I think, but one thing that stands out from what you are saying is it's a lot about asking and trying to do a paradigm shift on like the understanding of people around certain topics, certain elements of our just daily discourse. How do you think project like Enable that start maybe from like small group of people being matched in a competition and think about something, how do you see this kind of initiative that starts small could actually be part of a bigger solutions to solve that? Because paradigm shift is such a big problem. How do you optimistically see this kind of project can actually solve that kind of problem?
True. Actually, you emphasize lots of key facts there, Theo. A paradigm shift is surely not an easy job. That's first things first. But what makes us optimistic is the fact that me and my team believe that we're solving a real problem that needs to be assisted. And I believe that we're doing this for the greater good, and we're beyond thankful that ASEAN Foundation and Huawei, also back in the Seeds for the Future program, is able to support us with the relevant mentorships so we can develop our ideas into a real project. And furthermore, that is why our team would like to inform that this idea won't be sufficient and won't come into realization with only a team of young youths from 6 different countries in Southeast Asia. We need participations not only from the youths, but also we need support from private sectors, government sectors, and others as well, so we can do that paradigm shift together, making a better Southeast Asia that provides inclusivity.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Yona, and I think you speak that in the right room with the right composition of the people, because it's not only young people, it's also partners that support the program. We are talking in the ASEAN Secretariat building, which do a lot of work in supporting this kind of initiative. And I think, I know we will enter our Q&A very soon, but I will just jump throw one more question for this side, whoever wants to answer it. I think Yona mentioned about, it's not only about young people, but it's about involving others, involving private, involving government entities. But I think that's the big idea, right? I think to make it more specific, how do you think then, like this stakeholders, these ranges of entities could actually better support you? In what practical ways you reckon this support could be defined? Because then I think if you say it in this setting, then maybe someone in this room will be like, oh, okay, maybe we can actually take that and do something about it.
In what context is this, sorry?
Anything, maybe perhaps should there be more programs like this? Should the programs be longer? Or maybe actually should if the program happens, maybe you guys need more funding for it? You guys want to have more rooms to grow things that you guys already learned? Anything. I don't put limit, I guess, on that.
Okay, let me answer these questions. I think it's an interesting question. What comes in my mind first about the stakeholders, I think, is to the academic setting. I mean, like teachers from high school, and then the lecturers from the universities, the academic settings per se. Why is it important? Because by reaching the academic settings, we maybe from the ASEAN Foundation, the ASEAN Foundation can create programs, a lot of programs, but if the like the marketing or the reach is not reaching the right audience, maybe the impact would be less and would be minimal. So I think if we reach more to the academics, maybe reach the lecturers to promote ASEAN Foundation's programs and encourage the students to join the programs, it would be the impact would be much greater.
Thank you, Wayan. Anything to add, Naim, before I open the floor?
Yeah, I would like to add, because like I watch Iona project, outside as not in her team. So this the project's about how to say how we want to put an inclusiveness, or how we can empower other people. It's not about only ourselves, but how we can empower other marginalized peoples. Okay, speaking into ASEAN Foundation programs, I believe we can find more strategic collaborations, perhaps from other industry. Because seeing into industry level, like I saw even Starbucks hired disabled persons to be their barista, to be cashiers. So it's really interesting to see like these people have an opportunity to get a job. But in ASEAN Foundation level, they have done their really impressive awareness by doing the Huawei Seeds of Future programs to emphasize the program, to emphasize the participants' projects on how to upbringing these kind of marginalized peoples. Yeah.
Thanks, Naim.
Theo, if I can jump into
Angelo,
your question. So last year actually it's this year. This year I was the head of project management of Y20. So it's the youth platform for, it's the platform for young people at the G20. So what we did this year is basically we tried to gather aspirations of young people across the G20 members, 19 countries in the European Union, and we sort of create a policy recommendation out of these aspirations and propose it to the president of Indonesia, who's the chair of G20. So I think, that is something we can replicate at the ASEAN level as well, because the Y20 is not a simulation. I love how AFMAM is, mainstreaming ASEAN to young people through simulation. But I think if we can also gather the aspiration of young people beyond a simulation through a real negotiation process, I think that would be, adding values to what we're doing, what ASEAN Foundation is doing as well. So I think that's something that I'd like to pitch into the stakeholders right here.
Okay, thanks everyone. I think you guys highlight the importance of higher education institutions, but also implementing partners such as us, that you guys part of the big family as well, but also making it policy-related level, submitting it to people who actually do policy. I think then it hits a lot of the big actors, big stakeholders that we have been working on very closely as well. I know we are entering our last 10 minutes, and I think since we are now in the room, I think I will just see if there is anyone wants to raise their hand to ask questions. Anyone? For maybe name and what question do you want to ask, or specific speakers? Anyone? It doesn't have to be youth. If there is any, okay. Ms. Hongwei, if you want to ask.
I'm from SAP, right? I look after CSR and for Southeast Asia and Asia, Pacific, and Great China. My question is to you. You mentioned the future skills. It was really cool question, cool answers. You talk about the synthesizing skill, how to do learning, unlearning, relearn, and critical thinking. Now, how do you get there?
I mean, if you want to take 1 minute to think, you can. But please, yeah, please.
No, I think, Ibu, I think, I felt a lot of pressure to do it. I think what I did was just putting myself out there. I feel like if I don't unlearn what I had, I will keep having that moving forward, which is not very good because, the world is moving so fast. I need to sort of like unfill my tank and fill it with something new. I think it has a lot to do with the environment as well. The team that I'm working in, they're very supportive in like giving new informations, keep reminding us, the new team members, that there are new things and there are new ways of thinking as well. So I think a lot of that comes from within, but also the closest environment.
Okay, so I make it a bit more specific, right? So if you are running the programs in ASEAN, right, to help the young people get those kind of skills, what the programs might be?
I would say business case or consulting case, because that trains a lot of the thinking ability. You just had to think very logically. So I think, and that shapes, and that takes time. Usually people who join business case, they won't win the first time around because it takes time. It takes a lot of conversation with their peers, with their mentors, with their seniors. But I think it's a good exercise to have.
While we are waiting.
I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to give it to some other people.
Yeah. Anyone else want to ask? Or maybe while we are waiting for question, 3 of you maybe want to help Angelo answer that as well? Yona, maybe?
Sure, maybe to add what Angelo's saying. So actually, I do agree in some of what you mentioned earlier because previously I also participated in business case competitions. And I can tell that the experience did really gave me lots of knowledge, new knowledge. For instance, both in technically and soft skills, we got to solve real world challenges and solve it. And then we got to present it. So the only, we're not only learning how to solve it, but we're also learning how to strategically communicate what our ideas are to people, to the stakeholders who sometimes are not getting the broader aspect of the problem. And we are there to assist them to realize what's the bigger aspect of the problem. And maybe to add, I think, in my opinion, based on my experience in Seeds for the Future, the cultural exchange that I experienced was really valuable. As a younger generation, we grew up in the internet era, and when we want to find out about a certain country in Southeast Asia, or like a certain culture in Asia, we can just directly Google it out. For instance, I want to know about Singapore, I want to know about Indonesia. We can just Google it out, and there's lots of key facts being shown to us. But the next question is, are those facts on the internet really reflect what Indonesia is? Is it true? Are these facts you saw on Google are true? are these key facts or some informations that you saw about Singapore is true? The answer is based on what I experienced in the Seeds for the Future event, was that I'm able to interact in real life with citizens from different countries, and I'm able to gain knowledge and also the real what is happening in their countries, which is, I think, it cannot be replaced by the internet, which is a really valuable experience in my opinion. So I think maybe a little bit of recommendation to answer Theo's question. Create more programs where we could exchange culture and experience it in real life, because it will be really beneficial and eye-opening.
Maybe Theo,
Thank
if I
you.
can just add like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Ibu, I think other than business case, policy challenge case is also very helpful, because like business is focusing on business, but like for young people who are interested in public policy, I think policy case challenge is very good. I think one of the things that you can look into as well as an example is the World Bank Group and Deloitte youth case challenge. I think that is a very good example of how they're doing it for young people.
Yeah, I have seen the hand raise. Any question for our youth speakers?
May I raise a question?
Yeah.
We all know that now is a digital era, and we see a lot of giants in the industry. Meanwhile, we also see a lot of SME and also startups. As young generation, which sector do you prefer? You prefer to join a big company like Huawei or SAP, or you prefer to start with SME or startups and grow up with them? Or even in public sector, we all understand that the government now pay more attention to transformation, even ASEAN, right? Even, I mean, ASEAN Secretariat, I know that they focus a lot on digital economy. So as young generation, maybe not only you, but also the other guys, so how do you plan for your career path?
I think that question could be for, should we do a circle check? Since I'm young, should I answer that as well?
Sure.
I know,
sure.
I'm kidding. But maybe let's do a circle check and start from that section.
Okay.
What do you guys prefer?
Thank you for the questions. So, which company do I prefer for work? I think it's really a personal matter, I think, and then it depends on what value or maybe what goals are you pursuing. But for me, I think the most important thing to look for, or maybe to search when I'm starting a career, is the opportunity for learn from a lot of people, and with the topics, with the materials that I really interested at. For me, I'm answering this personally. I would love to work with people with distinct background, different backgrounds, maybe like in an international settings. And then I would also like to learn about technologies. Maybe I'm currently working as a data analytics, sometimes working as a data engineer, sometimes working as a data scientist. I would also love to work with the latest tech stacks, like the technologies that is at the best practice, technology is at on the best practice. And with technology with the best practice and also with the international settings of the people I'm working with, I think it will expand my knowledge, and also it will give me a lot of experiences that I would love to have.
Thanks, Wayan. And maybe very quickly from Naim, Yona, and Angelo, what sector, what kind of jobs perhaps?
Oh, okay. If speaking towards my academic backgrounds, I will choose SAP, because like I'm in data science part. But I've been joining Huawei programs, so I can be in Huawei programs too. But speaking in the programs that I have joined, Huawei programs, it really shows me that how I have a clear pictures on Huawei company backgrounds. So that's why I have mentioned the list how these strategic partnerships really play their important roles when our youth joining the ASEAN Foundation programs, especially with the strategic partnerships. Because like if I ask, because like previously I have asked my few friends in Malaysia that have joined Huawei programs, like, okay, after this I want to apply for Huawei projects. Huawei jobs in Malaysia. So it's really like how Huawei and ASEAN Foundation tackles youth to contribute and be a Huawei manpower as well. Other than that, I will add like some points that have mentioned by Angelo towards the business case study. Because like previous just 1 month ago, I've been interviewed with the 8th World Market Capitalizations in investment banking. So they really give me like a real scenario on how it really resonates on what they are looking for. Because like it's not about when applying job, it's not about we can answer the interview, because if you answer the interview, it's just the same questions like what is your strength, what is your name, or what is your weakness or else. But in business case study, it's really like helps you on how you can view your developments into the real world issues. Yeah, that's all from me.
Thanks, Naim. And if we can do 30-second speech for Yona and Angelo to answer that question.
But thank you for your question. I think a couple of things that young people are looking for when they're trying to find a job. Number one, salary. I won't lie. Salary. 2, mentorship. Can I get mentorship from working in this place? Will I see good leadership in this company? 3, if I work in this company, where will this bring me next? Will this bring me to what I want to do in the next few years, right? Number 4, I think this is what is distinct from the previous generation, mental health. Can I maintain mental health in this company? Because, I mean, I don't want to be answering phone calls from my boss on a Sunday morning. So I think those are the things. Yeah, those are like the short answer. I can expand more on that, but unfortunately we don't have more time.
Yeah, I think we can do it Instagram Q&A. Yona, to close.
All right, so close, actually, I do have similar aspects to what you mentioned earlier. And maybe I would just like a little bit, one aspect is about flexibility. Well, I noticed there's like a generation gap and the working styles between our generation and the elder generations, I believe, because like with the technology and working has become more flexible. And I think it's really important to find the middle ground when it comes to working styles, so everyone can benefit and we're gonna be a win-win solution so we can achieve the goal that we want to, despite the generation gap. Yeah, maybe that's what I would like to add. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And I think we are reaching the end of our session today. I think any questions from the online audience, we can always do it through Instagram later. And please hit some of our alumni through their social media as well if you have follow-up questions. And thank you again for a view. And thank you, everyone, for joining the second session. Back to Alvin and Felicia.
Once again, give applause to our speakers today. Thank you very much, Yona, Naim, Wayan, and Angelo for the sharing today. So we've come to learn from this session that it is very much important to be able to learn and be open to embrace yourself to new experiences, as Naim, Wayan, and Angelo have explained earlier. And in addition to that, let's connect with the people who would be able to help us by collaborating with them and finding middle ground, just like what the ASEAN Foundation is providing, which is to give you a platform to connect with young people who have the same vision to make and solve the issue that is facing in the region. So yeah,
Yeah, that's very correct, Alvin, because remember, today's youth is for tomorrow. And even though we are youth today, tomorrow we will be the next leader. So now, up next, we are entering the next sessions. We would like to invite everyone to participate in our Menti quiz. And we have a very interesting prizes for this game, so make sure that you are tuning in. And to participate, you can scan the barcode as shown on the screen, or you can open the Menti app or visit the www.menti.com and insert the code 55209293 as shown on the screen. So scan the barcode, everyone. Great prize await.
Yeah, people seem to be joining in.
Okay, more and more people are signing in, I saw here. Okay. Anybody else want to sign in? Yep, more and more are joining with the cute emoji. Okay. This question is specially prepared by our team, so thank you to the team working on the questions. Okay, we have some participants here. And okay, we will start now. Okay. The fastest answer will have the most point. First question, when was the ASEAN Foundation established? No Googling, everyone.
We only have 12 seconds left.
No Googling. Remember, honesty is a core value that is needed in every workplace, so we test it here now. Okay. Woo, some people get it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Okay, next question.
Well, yeah, we have...
Oh, who is...
Who is leading now? We have...
Oh, Jazz.
Jazz, nice. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Which ASEAN countries are the founding fathers of ASEAN?
Ayo, come on. Come on, people. Okay.
Time is up.
Oh, nice. A lot of people get it right.
Correctly, yeah.
Okay, question 3. The vision of ASEAN Foundation is to build a cohesive and prosperous ASEAN community. Is it true or false? Kinda tricky. Is it ASEAN Foundation or ASEAN Secretariat vision? We don't know, but let's see. It's true.
Ooh, most of us answered correctly. All right, question 4.
Okay, leaderboard. Oh, Jazz is still leading. Nice job.
Question 4. Which of the following is not a current or an ongoing project implemented by ASEAN Foundation?
No checking ASEAN Foundation website all.
I don't think they have the time to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not digital innovation program, but it's digital literacy program. Okay, last question. Claim your prize after this for the winner. Okay, which country was the 40th and 41st ASEAN summits held at? Was it Brunei, Cambodia, or Indonesia, or was it Malaysia? Okay. Time is okay. Oh, everybody got it right. Oh no, two person answer wrongly. Okay, so leaderboard.
And who's winning?
Oh, we have new contender. Be ASEAN. Oh no. Oh, oh
Jazz!
Jazz is still winning.
Congratulations.
From the first question, Jazz.
Thank you very much for your participation. And again, congratulations, Jess, for winning the quiz. Now, please DM us and leave your contact details through our Instagram to claim your prize.
Yeah, don't forget to do that. DM ASEAN Foundation for claiming your prize. Okay, thank you so much everyone for your participation in the quiz. I hope you feel refreshed now for our next sessions. So, the next session.
As of now, we are extremely fortunate to have the representative of SAP, Huawei, and Google.org to share their perspective and expertise on the topic of looking ahead, insights into industry trends, and in-demand jobs in the future.
This session will be moderated by our Executive Director, Dr. Yang Mi-eng. And the floor is yours, Dr. Yang.
And thank you, Elvin. And thank you for staying with us until the end. I think this is the last session of the day. Yeah? So I know it's pretty much quite heavy, but this will be a very interesting session. Pay more attention and seize more opportunities. So I would like to invite, before that, I would like to invite our distinguished speakers. First of all, let me invite Eugene Ho. Eugene? Eugene actually is a Global CSR Director, Future Skills Initiatives, SAP. So, Eugene, welcome here. So, yeah, thank you. Okay, our second speaker of the day is Mr. Jun Chang. Mr. Jun is a Vice President of Huawei Asia Pacific Public Affairs and Communications. Mr. Jun. Yeah. Here. And of course, we won't forget our dear friend, Miss Maria Relic. Miss Maria, are you there? Hi, Maria. Maria is actually Google Org Lead, Google APAC. Thank you, Maria. I hope you didn't wait too long. So thank you for joining us. We have three very, I just have some of the background. Maybe you are interested to know who they are. So perhaps for Eugene Ho, Eugene is an accomplished corporate affairs leader with 2 decades of experience in the information technology sector. So Eugene also is a very respectable industry speaker and at international conferences and school around key business topics such as leaderships, skill development, sustainability, technology, and volunteerism. So this is actually a I mean, most of you will already know him because he appeared in everywhere that related to youth skills. And now his new job, his new position will deal with skill and matching skill for jobs. So he's the right person here to actually give you the opportunity and point some opportunity for you. So Mr. Jun Chan is actually have 11 years career in Huawei, but he do look very young for his age. So Mr. Jun actually continuously contributing to the development of Huawei's global business, especially in Asia Pacific market, and completing his 4th year as the CEO of Huawei Bangladesh, and leveraging his regional experience over the last decade in Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. So he's a he's well cultured person. I'm sure you can learn something from him. So welcome here, and thank you for joining us today. Yeah? And thank you for all the support also you have been given so far. So of course, Maria, our friend, Maria is actually, she led the Google Org APAC, and this is actually a data-driven, human-focused philanthropic arms of Google. So Maria joined Google in 2019, and she manages Google's philanthropic work across the Asia-Pacific region to support innovative nonprofits using technology to tackle complex global challenges on pressing issues. So I mean that she has got few hundred old projects at one time. So you can imagine how experienced Maria. Sometimes when I speak to her, I felt that, oh my God, you know. So I'm pretty much in ASEAN Foundation. We do like 19 projects for this year, and I cannot compete with Maria's side. So I just want to do some setting on the discussion. Of course, our discussion is about youth today, and looking ahead, insights into industry trends and in-demand jobs in the future. Okay, when we talk about in-demand jobs, there are many different kind of views over it. And some say technology. Is it only technology, digital skills, or is it any other prospect that youth can join? Because we don't want to put too much emphasis also on technology, because we do have a digital gap here. We do have certain programs that wanted to increase the digital divide and digital gap among the community. So I think it happens in many of the less developed ASEAN region, less opportunity, less access. So for us to see that during this pandemic time, we see that the youth has actually have triple shock. What are the triple shocks? Which is job loss, disruptions in education and training, and as well as obstacles to enter labor market. You know, they don't know where to go, where to start, how to do it. So today, with our distinguished three speakers from the industry, from the corporate, I hope that some of you after this can also seize the opportunity to apply for the jobs here. Yeah. So SAP, you know, just now we have opened out some discussion with the youth. I'm very surprised also to hear some of the choices and what you're looking at. Of course, money is number one. And then mental health. That is really something that, you know, something that opened the eyes of the owners of business and leaders, that mental health, you know, is also the driving factors for young people to choose the jobs. So I think for the first questions, let me ask about what are the next few years. In the next few years, what can we expect in terms of on-demand jobs and skill and the trend? Perhaps I can give the question to June first. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right, thank you. First of all, I think everybody understands that in the past 3 years during the pandemic, all digital economy is booming. And we all experience that we work from home, we study from home, and also we entertain at home. So we see that in the past, not only the 3 years, but actually even before that, digital economy grew very fast. But during the pandemic, we see the speed is even higher. So all over the world, digital economy is a very hot topic, and in Western countries like Europe and the US, we see digital economy already taken nearly 70% of the economy. And in Asia Pacific, definitely we have a long way to go. However, we see the growth is even faster than other areas, in other regions. Averagely speaking, it's almost 3 times of GDP growth. So definitely the demand is huge. But now we see the trend is not like before. Before it was only 2G, 3G, 4G. It's more about the individual. Or you make a call, you have a video call. But now the trend is that digital everywhere and the cloud everywhere. Everything will go to cloud. Everything will become digital. So then this makes a big difference. Then digital or ICT is not only for ICT itself, it's for all industries. So we see now in ASEAN countries, for example, like Singapore or even Thailand, now different industries want to imply new technologies. They use AI for telemedicine or hospital. They use 5G for port, for mining. So you see
It used to be like workers, they work on the ground, they work on the top of the cranes, but now they can work remotely and control equipment. So they need some different skills and knowledge. They need to understand how it operates, how it runs. So for us, we need to offer this kind of knowledge and this kind of skills to those people who are in that industry. So it's not only for ICT itself. So in future, those people who are working in traditional industry, they are no longer traditional workers. They need some new knowledge. They need to understand the industry, how to be transformed. So this is the trend we have to focus on. So whether for infrastructure or for application or for the platform, it will be united and it will be offered to different industries. So all the workers or employees there need to be involved.
So it has been, it's 70% market already going for that direction. That is the reason why digital is the future job trend.
Yeah, but it's somehow different. For our industry, it's like it's not only like a tool, it's everything for us. But for some other industries, it's more like a platform or a tool. So the level they need to understand is totally different. So it depends on which industry you are in. But the trend is there. Okay. We have to be aware of that.
Okay. So thank you, Jun. How about SAP, Eugene? What is your view on this?
Right. So just adding on, I think if you look at the trends, right, by 2024, 60% of all legacy applications will be migrated to the cloud. So obviously there is a massive cloud growth that's happening. And if you think about it, besides the digital economy, and we've been talking about the digital economy now for quite a while, right? The next wave is really the green economy. And to a certain extent, digital is going to be the enabler, right? And if you think about it in the ASEAN context, right, by 2030, the digital economy is expected to hit $1 trillion. But so is the green economy going to hit $1 trillion as well. Of course, I think there's an overlap between that two. So I think that opportunities is there for youth today to embrace and prepare themselves, right, for these two massive economies that's of a significant size for ASEAN.
Okay, thank you for painting the trend and the future direction. Perhaps, Maria, you have anything to also share about this part of the, what is the in-trend things for the job in demand? Maria? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Yang. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
Wonderful. I completely agree with June and Eugene on this. We are all living in this digital economy and society, whether we like it or not, and whether we are in technology sector or any other sector for that matter, right? So looking back, there's no question that 2022 has been a roller coaster and has been and the year when it comes to an ever-evolving workplace. We've seen shifts in to remote work, inflation, layoffs, and now prediction of possible even recession. So jobs are changing, as we are hearing from everyone, and to the point that it's been predicted that 85% of the jobs college leavers of 2030 will haven't been invented yet. So this also means that the skills that we have now, not only young people, but all of us, we need to shift. There is, one thing is clear, the talent continues to be one of the key ways to enable an inclusive digital economy. Employers in Asia Pacific list technology, as everyone on the panel mentioned, as the leading in-demand skills. But we all know that the technical skills need to be cultivated. So the skills that we all need to thrive in the workspace are shifting as well. So Eugene mentioned the green skills, but also just the regular things and skills like using digital tools, how we can collaborate, how we can communicate with each other. Just across Southeast Asia, 100 million people became new internet users during the last 3 years of the pandemic. That also means that some of these people came online for the very first time. So in addition to those digital skills and technical skills, there are also these skills, how to stay safe online, how to be more media literate. So if I could focus on highlighting maybe 5 skills that we see as trends that and skills that are emerging that many of the employers are asking for and that will be skills of the future. The first one would be data communicator, storyteller. So what that really means, we see that data communicators and storytellers will become increasingly sought after and valuable to businesses as we move into 2023. And as all of the businesses are using data, how these people can use and analyze data in order to communicate the insights and make the data-driven decisions for their businesses. The second one is cybersecurity. I alluded earlier, so many people and businesses came online for the very first time in the last couple of years. So how these people and businesses can learn to protect themselves online and their businesses so then they can continue and grow their businesses. Technology coding and UX design as a third one. And I'm not saying here that all of us here should become coders. Or programmers for that matter. But what is really important is that people understand how technology can be leveraged in different industries. And I think June alluded to that earlier in his answer, and I completely agree with that. So how technology can be deployed as an enabler to many of the industries. And the last two, digital marketing, from paid social media, advertising to influencer-led campaigns, etc. But the final one, and I think that someone mentioned in the panel discussion before on the mental health and flexibility, an emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and sustainability, including green skills to enable sustainable, digital and green growth across not only Southeast Asia, but also worldwide will be very important.
Thank you, Maria. I think the bottom line is, it has been agreed in 3 speakers panels here that digital is the driving force for the jobs. And of course, with the green sector. But one thing that we have this report on LinkedIn, 41 out of 67 rising job positions from 15 job sectors will require proficiency in basic digital skills. However, a survey we conducted with Google.org, thanks to Google and Maria's site, in 2021 revealed that young workers self-assess their less proficiency in digital skills compared to soft skills. So in particular, 47.8% underserved youth don't have skills in functioning basic work software. So this is actually quite worrying per se, because most of the youth are not confident, because in my generation, we thought that the youth are very technical savvy. They are way better than my generation. But when we do the research, it's the other way, they are less confident, So we have so many opportunities has been given, training is available, that the gap is still there. So what is your view on this, and what the type of initiatives that has been put in place to help the young people be more confident and to upgrade and increase their level skill entry for digital skills? So maybe I can pass a question to Eugene first. Eugene?
Right. So I think there are many programs out there to begin with. So a lot of NGOs as well as civil society organizations have been tackling this challenge quite upfront. But I think I will highlight a few things that we have done. So one of them, for example, is working with UNICEF and the Vietnam government. Over the last 3 years, we've looked at revamping the education for secondary schools, right, to prepare the youths for the fourth industrial revolution, right, and using tools such as virtual reality and augmented reality to increase their proficiency, if you will. And then the other projects that we have, for example, with the ASEAN Foundation, is to upskill youths in data analytics, if you will. But again, this is a lot more upstream already, right? So these are more advanced ICT skill sets. But I think if you ask me personally on a really basic level, what could be done at the grassroots level is essentially training at the community level, if you will, on the ICT basics. And the fact of the matter is that the price of hardware has come down very significantly,
Okay.
right?
How many percent over these few years?
I don't have the numbers. I think Huawei would have been in a better position to answer
But then,
that. But
sometimes it's always very expensive for consumer products.
yes, that's true. But it has come down a long way if you think about it, right? With
Yeah.
players like Huawei, they have brought down the price of hardware, right? If you think about it, in Myanmar, as the saying goes, right, the kid may not have a shirt on his back, but he has a smartphone in his hand, right? So the prices have come down a long way, all right, and it is really affordable. And if you think about it, then with players like Google, right, making available the Google Office and all, those are the basic, right, ICT skill sets that can be taught, even just on a smartphone, right?
How about
Yeah.
marginalized group? Because we are talking about inclusivity also.
Yeah, correct. So when I say the kid doesn't have a shirt on his back, then he's marginalized, right?
Yeah,
He
how
can't
about
even
people
afford-
with disability?
So with disability, it's the same thing, right? And I think it's really boils down to the CSO groups, and I think there are many initiatives out there which supports them. Yeah.
But another thing is later we'll come back again. Now, kids without clothes but still want the gadgets. This is gadgets are more important. Okay, maybe June, you have something to share on this since they say that the price of hardware is also coming down technology.
Yes, as we can see now, you can afford a 5G phone, right? And the tablet, laptop, it's everywhere.
You just need the tablet sometimes to do
Yeah,
your
to do
office,
everything, right? One phone, actually, now mostly 80% of my time, I just use my smartphone.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything on a phone. But now, honestly speaking, we see ASEAN is a young region. We have the most young people. 1/3 of them are young, very young, right? So this is good. There are a lot of demographic. However, we also have challenge, as you said, because in this region, we see different country is totally at a different stage. We have very developed country, and we have quite undeveloped country. So the facility is not there, the infrastructure is not ready in some areas. So first of all, we need to get it connected. So that's very important. And secondly, there are a lot of new technology, new concept coming. So it's quite difficult for us to get everybody involved. So in my opinion, somehow now the digital divide is even getting bigger. So in this area, I think it's not only the companies who should pay attention and put in efforts in there, but also we need to join hands with governments. The public sector is really important, like I said. First of all, connection should be there. Then secondly, we should provide a platform, we should provide a courses training to them. As you know, Huawei already joined hands with government and also joined hands with ASEAN Foundation to offer some training programs. Many people mentioned about this for the future. And of course, we also have other platforms. In fact, in Asia Pacific, we cooperate with more than 300 universities to offer training courses. And we have ICT
Free
Academy.
training.
Free.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
free training. Actually, in 5 years, we invest around $15 million to train 500,000 people. Because according to the report, now half of the companies CEO in this region feel that it's difficult to get proper qualified candidates.
Exactly. Because we have so many things put in place, but why is the gap still there? And this gap is getting bigger and bigger. What is the actual core issues here?
I think to our industry, you see, every year there is new concept. Right?
So the
this
technology
is
runs
this
faster
really, yeah,
than
very
human.
fast.
Okay.
And like I said, the digital divide is still there. So how to get people included, this is really a challenge,
It's a big challenge.
for everybody.
So what the youth need to do?
I think, honestly speaking, it's not easy. Because when we were a child, you don't even know computer. How can you yourself know about it? You need somebody to remind you. You need somebody to coach you. So that's why I say for public sector and the private sector, we need to do it together. That's why while we try to approach government and offer some training, actually it's not trying to lobby them to use Huawei equipment. It's more like that we can offer the knowledge to them. Of course, it's good for us. Then in future, maybe when we recruit employees, it's easy for us.
Yeah, you have to prepare the foundation of people to use the technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to have the awareness, and they can have the access. So these two, we can do it. And on top of that, contents.
Okay.
Right. So we can do that together. And I believe, like Google, like SAP, they do the same. So
maybe we also can hear from Maria and see what she has to do. Maria, what is your view on this, the gap, and what is the what can we do, to actually bring this gap smaller and smaller instead of bigger and bigger for the skill set of digital knowledge?
Yeah, absolutely. And like how we are looking at this completely aligned with what Eugene and June were saying, like how we can level the playing field for everyone, not only across Southeast Asia, but also across the region and worldwide, how we can ensure that everyone has access to not only to technology, as June was saying, but also how to have access to other resources so then they can learn how to leverage those resources, including technology, in order to help their organizations grow or scale their programs. Like from our side, I think, so as you were saying, Dr. Young, so from Google.org side, being the Google's philanthropy, we support nonprofit organizations with all three resources, including corporate funding, technology, as well as volunteers. I think someone in the previous panel discussion said that one of the things that they really appreciate in careers is mentorships and leadership advices. So something as a role model, someone to learn from. And I think that is very important. And we do that in areas, we support nonprofits in different areas where we believe that can be most helpful. So from economic contribution, helping underserved job seekers. Dr. Yang, you mentioned people with disabilities. So people with disabilities included, as well as women and micro and small businesses to learn skills to grow their organizations, right? But also providing them with technology so then they have access to this technology. And we also learned that many people came online. So I mentioned that based on the report that Google did in partnership with the Bain & Company and Temasek earlier this year, it shows that 100 million people came online in Southeast Asia during the 3 years of the pandemic. And the final one is these volunteers, how we are supporting these organizations. And again, in digital responsibility, helping these people to learn how to stay safe online and be more media literate. And there are a number of programs that I could mention now, including the ASEAN program that we are working with, where we are supporting the ASEAN Foundation to drive media literacy across 10 ASEAN countries through the local implementing partners, and where you are targeting as an organization with our support, you're targeting not only young people, but also people with disabilities and elderly and women and teachers and parents. So I guess what I'm what I'm gonna finish with for this answer is that we need to ensure that we are working across sectors, so from the public sector to private sectors to government sectors, and addressing these challenges.
I think we have lost the signals of Maria. Yeah? Too bad, because yeah, digital transformation. This is one of the problems we have. Maria, we lost you just now about 2 minutes. You're closing before do you want to repeat it?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now can. The 2 minutes, the 20 seconds before ending, we lost you.
Okay, I'm not sure what I was saying, but I guess my main point was to finish off with that we all need to address this challenge at the systemic level by working cross-functionally and cross-sector, across different sectors. So having governments and private sectors and social impact organizations working together to address this challenge, because there is not one sector that can address this.
Yeah, maybe Maria, since you mentioned PPP, private-public sectors, I mean, being organizations that always work with government, do you find what is the biggest challenge, of working with government? Because there is always like some sort of like a gaps there, I think. Maybe you want to share, and then maybe that can be improved over the time.
Yeah, I think I was actually talking to many, as we are finishing our calendar year, and we were learning, we always learn from many of the NGOs that we are supporting. I was actually asking a similar question, and this question was part of our discussions. And I think that one of the things is also always to look and do the research and identify with the government officials at early stages on what are those challenges that the government, but as well as the nonprofit organizations and as private sector organizations, we are trying to address. Right? So what is the data telling us? And then what are different roles of different stakeholders? So then we can combine our resources to actually address these challenges at the long term, with the long-term impact.
Yeah, more sustainable. Huh? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. I think for the benefit of our youth also, I wanted to mention the transition to a greener economy has the potential to bring jobs substitution, jobs reduction, and jobs transformation. So how can youth leverage such a shift to find employment and potentially forge a career path oriented towards social and environmental impact? So maybe I can pass these questions to Eugene again. Eugene, yeah, this is your field, eh? Yeah.
Okay, so maybe before I even answer that, I think the elephant in the room for the youth today is the potential economic disruptions that we would experience probably in the next several months of sorts.
Several months?
Several months.
That's quite quick,
Hopefully it's quick. We are all optimists.
All right,
We're all optimists over here.
Right.
But I guess regardless of how many months it will be, right, that was induced by inflation, is that when you look out there and you try to forecast, right, while you prepare for whatever jobs that's available, right, that you should be working on, you should always bear in mind that every downturn is followed by an upturn, right? So just bear in mind that, the economy will come back up again, and, and you need to be prepared for it. Hence, preparing for it, I guess, is key.
Yeah,
Take this opportunity
agree.
to prepare for it.
Can I ask the audience, how many of you are prepared during the 2 years pandemic? Raise your hand. Nobody? This is serious. Because the 2 years is for you to prepare. It's not for you to mourn. Huh? Yeah, mourning, everybody mourn, So, but if you have not raised your hand, that is something I'm very concerned now, Eugene. So how?
Indeed. So, earlier on, I set the context, right, that the digital economy and the green economy is going to be worth in total about $2 trillion, right, by 2030. So that's what you could be striving for, right, in trying to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and at the same time be in demand, if you will, right, with the digital skill set. So you have to start exploring this area, right, which are the green economy area, which requires digital skills. And if you can marry the two, there is a scarcity of such talent, if you will, right? And many companies will be going towards this direction simply because at some point the regulation is going to make all organizations be carbon efficient, carbon neutral, at some point carbon zero. And you want to be exactly in that position where you have the right skill sets to make a difference to the company that you want to join.
And can be hired immediately. Huh?
That
if
is
you're ready,
right.
So you have another 6 months to prepare?
If you ask all the companies, we need it yesterday already. So there's a huge demand, and there'll be, I think, a huge fight amongst the corporates to hire such talents.
Maybe I ask from June's view on this green economy things.
Yeah, I think a green economy, it doesn't really 100% replace all the current economy. Eventually, I see the traditional economy, whether the power plant or some related industry, it needs to be upgraded. So, for example, the pollution.
The back end is still not ready, yeah?
Yeah, it's not ready. I don't think so, because even like in China already started a green power many years ago. But so far, it's only 20%. 20% is really huge already, but still only 20%. So the current economy is still there. And so how to manage it better or how to make it green, I think they need a lot of digitalization, and then need to improve the way the production. So that means in the current industry, they still need a lot of new solution, new technology. So this is one thing. Secondly, for green area, the new energy, it's a huge industry, as we can see already. Do you see how much a shipment of EV car and also
electronic cars?
EV, and also the PV, solar power. So we see a lot of new industries coming. So these new industries, of course, there are new technologies. So I don't think the volume of career opportunity are cut. I do see a lot of new opportunities, especially for ASEAN.
Actually, if the youth here can seize the opportunity fast enough, that will be quite good for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because new jobs is coming, like what Maria mentioned just now, 33% of the future job has not been created, Maria? Yeah. Is she still?
I'm still here.
Yeah, is 33% of jobs still not created, isn't it? Haven't come out yet in the future jobs? Sorry, I think
it's 85%.
Yeah, 45%. Wow, that is pretty high. So it's definitely it will be more or less the trend will be in the digital path. Huh?
Yes, correct. And I absolutely agree. And I'm so grateful that Eugene just addressed that elephant in the room, and which is very important. And I couldn't see the raised hands in the room, but I completely agree with you, Dr. Young. If the best way for not only young people, and let me just be clear there, I'm not only referring to young people who needs to be upskilled and or reskilled, but it's for all of us.
Yes, which is true.
All of us need to learn new skills. Every time I mention to my parents about anything about sustainability and green economy, they are not really sure what I'm talking about. So,
definitely.
Exactly. So that comes to what you mentioned, Dr. Young, like the jobs are changing, right? And we all need to learn those skills. Either those are traditional green skills, and actually, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask a question like how many young people in the room know what the green skills mean?
Can you raise your hand so I can calculate green skills? Oh my God, Maria, nothing. No, nobody.
That's fine. That's fine. At least we know, and we are all here to learn, right?
Yeah.
So we definitely need more of these green skills for
Okay,
again.
I think, Maria, what we can do is maybe we can design some programs, to at least kickstart the ball rolling, because now we know that this is needed, because we have done a quick survey. Yeah, I think I will also give the floor, Maria, for some question, because I saw some raising hand. Also, some of you online can put your question in the box, in the chat box. So yeah, Hong Wei, please.
Well, our industries have so many acronyms. We through so many of them, and the young people, you got enough, right? That's why you ask those acronyms. Some people cannot answer. They shy, so maybe I'm wrong. Am I right? Too many, and that's one of the reasons why I like one of the young people here saying that synthesize skills is very important. They see so many things on the internet. And then they have to synthesize. That's one of the skills.
Prioritize also.
Yeah, prioritize,
yeah,
synthesize.
prioritize the interest. I mean, my next question is actually exactly on that. What can youth do in order to keep up with the fast pace of employment patterns and practices?
Yeah.
It's changing, digital world is changing. Even our technology leaders, like Huawei is also trying to keep it up. And their customer also not ready, let alone the young people.
I want to address now about what skills, how do they prepare themselves for jobs, right?
Yes, please.
I think I look at it from different perspective. I encourage you to looking for problems. Look at the community you are in. What are pain points they have, right? What are pain points that you are passionate about to solve? Then you turn to technology companies like us, says, which technology should I learn? Which technology can master to solve these problems? And so when you take on that track, you find a good job.
Thank you, Hong Wei. Thank you for a very good advice. This is what the first step you can do, to really find out what is your interest, because it is overwhelming. I'm not sure whether I have to empathize to you, but I'm way far generation than you, so I don't have such problem that time when I look for a career. It's pretty much quite straightforward. I like media, I like communication, I go for it. But now you have like this big, huge ocean. So which path, where you want to swim? Ocean with no directions. Wait a minute. Yeah, we only have 3 more minutes. Yeah, I hope I have chance to give our speakers.
I just can't help to say that. So when you're looking for, if you're looking for jobs, interns in the company, really looking at what the problems their customers have. Right.
Solving problems.
Yeah, solving problems.
Yeah,
Then
technology is nothing if without able to be to solve problems.
Yeah, because if you want to think about what skills should I learn, what courses should I take, too many of them.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, so I think before I close the session, we still have 3 more minutes. Maybe each of our panel speakers can say something to encourage or to motivate or to scare our youth. Also can. Maybe we start with Maria. Maria, do you have anything to say before we close this session?
Thank you, Dr. Yang. And I didn't hear the name of the person who was advising youth.
Hong Wei. Hong Wei, SAP, yes.
Very good advices. I completely agree with those. Absolutely, again, for young people and for everyone else. Many moons ago, I was part of the nonprofit myself, and I remember that we received a technology donation, the in-kind donation from one of the tech companies, and we never used it because we didn't know how. So technology without skills and knowing how to use it and how to leverage it is nothing.
Yeah.
So one thing is absolutely find your passion, but at the very same time, stay flexible. Have that growth mindset, because whatever the evolving trends are happening in the market now, what is now, it might not be in the future for all of us. So we all need to remain flexible and resilient and keep learning new skills.
Thank you. Yeah.
Quite
Thank you.
often we cannot find the practical experience, but being comfortable with change is very important.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Maria. I hope that all this, advice, please take note. Huh? So maybe June? Yeah.
Okay, I maybe give you 3 keywords.
Yeah.
The first keyword is about awareness. Awareness means that you need to understand yourself. What is you're really interested with, and what you are really good at it. Then what you are not good at. So my opinion is that don't try to do something you are really not good at. You should utilize all your strengths and try to avoid a weakness. Of course, you need to try to improve the area you are not good at it. But don't try to use what you are not good at it to beat with those people who are good at it.
True.
That's very stupid, actually.
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to challenge.
Yeah, no, you want to challenge, sure. Of course, I understand that. But in my career, I see a lot of people who run the challenge, and most of them fail.
Okay. All right.
But of course, we encourage you to improve yourself,
Okay.
definitely. So this
Thank
is the
you.
first word.
Mm.
Second keyword is learning. Always learn, always study, be curious,
Non-stop learning,
be
huh?
humble, yeah, be open. This is second. Third, target.
Target.
Yeah, and target means that you need to have your own target in your career path, but don't easily change it. Stick to it.
Mhm.
For example, I ask a question that what is your plan for your career path, and you prefer big company or small company? Once you make a decision, of course, before you make a decision, you need to do a lot of study. Get it well prepared, and then make a decision. After that, don't easily change. I see some candidates change job every 1 or 2 years.
You mean for salary increment?
Mostly, maybe for
a better pay?
This or that reason.
100 ringgit or
this
100
morning,
USD.
my boss shouted at me, or yesterday my colleague increased salary, and not
very
me.
emotional, huh?
Yeah,
Very emotional.
quite emotional.
Ah,
Yeah, because
okay,
young
emotional.
people easily get.
Okay. That is another thing, That's another thing. We maybe have to keep it for a next topics to discuss about that.
Yeah, so here are the 3 keywords I would like to share with you.
Thank you so much. So, make sure you focus on your target. Don't simply change. And then don't get too emotional. And then also be prepared and don't do the best thing you like to do and you are good at it. Okay? So next, the last one, maybe
I'll
Eugene has
just
something to
add
say.
one point, and all really great remarks from the other 2 speakers. I think I'll leave one advice on my side, which is look for a mentor, look for a career advisor, right? Particularly from the industry that you're looking for, so that they are able to give you deep insights, how to get to the job, right? What sort of qualifications are we looking for? How can you top up your qualifications so that you are the best candidate? And hopefully even maybe this mentor advisor could link you up with HR, give you that counsel that you really need, right? And you'll be surprised, right? If you ask for help, a lot of the seniors are there.
I mean, Eugene, you always mentor people, I know.
All over the world, like literally all over the world. Yes.
Literally, your time is spent to mentor young people. So thank you so much for all our great panels. Thank you for your very invaluable insights, and also Hong Wei from the advice to all our young people. Thank you, Maria. So I would just end these sessions, and thank you for joining us. We see you in the next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eugene, Miss Maria, and Mr. Jun for the very insightful sharing. And thanks also to Dr. Yang for the great moderation. And we have learned from the exchange now that technologies has infiltrated basically everything in our lives, starting from even like medicine, food industry, and then also the rise of cloud, AI, and then the upcoming green economy. But unfortunately, we still have some problems. There is gaps between ASEAN countries. There is often gaps in between countries. But fortunately, we can still have public partnership as well as mentoring, also for us to ensure that nobody is left behind. And remember to always be open, to keep learning, and just be ready to take on anything, because in every downward, there will always be upward, and we can always move forward.
Thank you, Feli. And to conclude the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall, we would like to convey our sincere thanks and appreciation to all honorable guests and distinguished speakers, both at the ASEAN Hall and online, who have taken the time to come and participate in today's event. The success of the third ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall would not have been possible without your support.
I completely agree with you, Alvin. And we would like to remind everyone to once again fill the survey for this event by scanning the QR code as shown on the screen. And thank you everyone for attending in today's event. We hope that the event today has given you new insights on ASEAN issues, especially those are related to job market and youth employment. We also hope that you can use today's event to build stronger network among each other and with our partners, which will be especially useful in the future. Because remember, impactful partnership starts with friendship. And we would also like to express our gratitude once again for our partners to their continuous support, Huawei, SAP, and Maybank Foundation.
And keep an eye for more ASEAN Foundation's events and programs on our social media. Make sure that you have followed our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok. We also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to.
So once again, thank you very much everyone for attending from the beginning till the end and for staying with us. I hope you had a wonderful time and see you again in the fourth ASEAN Foundation Interactive Alumni Town Hall in 2023. Okay, goodbye everyone and have a great evening. Merry Christmas
and Happy New Year. We would like to invite our photographer to come to the stage and take a picture from the stage to show everyone.